Hello. Mr. Crack is on this side,
I sure
and
am.
and we decided to do this chat because well, we both have time to talk, so hopefully people have time to see. If not, we
Right.
can just like you can see us afterwards. Oh, there's 5 people. Okay, hopefully you are here.
Boom.
So hello, once again. So we just like the last float of the oh my god, werewolf, 3 o'clock in the morning, man. Jesus. I hope your heat in Australia is not like making you awake. That's why you there it says because of the heat anyway. So
Yep.
well, sorry about that. I like 42 degrees or some crazy stuff.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Whew, that's crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and Jared is here. It's the weekend already.
It's
No,
always the
but
weekend during the holidays.
yeah,
Every day is the
true.
weekend.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I agree. But yeah, we just I guess we're deciding to do this before the New Year's hit. So the last before the New Year. So
Well, and
yeah, well,
also, I mean, just personally speaking, I miss it. So, it's nice
yeah,
to I
yeah,
have time, we have
exactly.
time, so
Yeah,
let's do it.
yeah. We like to talk to each other, and you
It's
guys.
true. Yep.
So that's why we're here. It's true actually. Like yeah, after we've been not having it for a while, it's kind of like it's the back of my mind all the time, like is it Sunday, kind of like is it Sunday, and then
Yep.
when it's Sunday I go like are we doing this, I forgot something. Like I have to check myself, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice. Maybe Damian gonna decide to pop in, maybe.
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
up to him if he has
Yep.
any time. The time difference is quite extensive towards like you and me, but hopefully he maybe
Yeah.
have something.
It
Wow,
is, but I
werewolf.
literally have nothing going on, so it's
Yeah,
kind of perfect. It's
yeah,
nice to, I mean, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining about that. It's nice to have some downtime where I don't have to do things.
yeah,
It's really good. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, myself as well. I just really like to be chilled for as
Hmm.
long as possible. My son is in holidays from preschool, which is crazy. That's worse
Yep.
for us
Yep.
because that kid is bored. When 3.5-year-old kid is bored, he is bored, and you can
Yeah.
actually see it. And then you have to do something, otherwise he's gonna cause a havoc, because that's what happens to us a couple of times. So even my like the weather is really like rain, and actually not cold but rain. There's a lot of moisture in here, so
Right.
so it's difficult to get out, like especially with small one. So and now with
Yep.
all the stuff, like you don't want to get around. Our friends getting COVID, which is really sad.
Yeah.
But we do like try to get like we haven't seen them in a while, and then they got COVID, and it's like, oh my god, so we have not going to see them in more time. So it was
Right.
quite sad.
Yep.
But anyway, things happen like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially nowadays. Yeah. It's
yeah,
crazy.
so it's kind of like whatever happens. We have to live with this stuff now.
Totally. In
Yeah.
uh in contrast, there, werewolf by lunchtime. So
Hmm.
yesterday we had
Hmm.
to shovel our way out of the house because
No.
we had quite a dump of snow, and then we went for a nice long walk to a small grocery store.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, I don't
Hmm.
know. It's probably about a 20-minute walk or whatever. It was actually really nice to walk, as tough as it was, because nothing was plowed or anything. It was really nice to get out. So a little bit opposite end of the weather spectrum there from you.
Yeah, the hemisphere change. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single time hits December, I feel like, oh fuck, I wish I would be in like in South Africa,
Yeah, yeah,
because that there's like heat, and here it's miserable.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's like it took 2 weeks, no, 1 week and a half to see the sun. So
Okay.
it's a little bit much. It's like always gray, is always overcast, but that's
Right,
England
right.
for you, and foggy.
Yeah.
It makes it even worse. Like when you have a small, like short mornings. Let's swap. I want to swim in the snow. Yeah, shove it like from Canada
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Australia. Just plow
Getting a
it
good
through.
face wash.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I got distracted by what I was saying. Anyway, doesn't matter. So do you want to talk comics? Do you want to talk
Yeah, sure.
shows? Um,
What have you seen lately?
Hawkeye finished it.
When did you
Have you?
finish it?
Did you watch it at all?
I did, yeah. We just finished it. We just watched the last two episodes.
Mm-hmm.
What's today? I think we watched them on Sunday, maybe. We finished the last two finally, so we're now fully caught up.
Yeah.
What
So
did you think
how?
overall?
I liked the show. I really
Yep.
liked, but I liked more Katie Bishop and what's her name? Yelena.
Yeah.
Yelena, whatever. So I really liked those two. They were hilarious. I mean, the
Yeah.
really good body language as well as an actresses. It felt really good. So they felt really
Yeah.
comfortable to each other, and it's like it seems to be a lot of people like have the same feelings because
Hmm.
it seems to be those two together in the show would be hilarious because
I think
especially
so
the
too.
dynamic house like she for a I think where she is from, the Pew girl, Yelena Belova,
I
actress.
don't know where she's originally, like the actress, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm not
think
sure. I don't really know.
I think she's European, but anyway, or English. I don't know because the way her surname is. I'm not sure where she's from. Anyway,
Right,
but
right.
her Russian accent is great. The way she speaks and the way, especially when she has. Then she was that episode when she was making the macaroni cheese.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, do you sure you don't want it? Like, the way she was speaking is like hilarious.
yeah.
And the girl, the bishop, is just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It's like I'm supposed to be like on the man about to fight you, and she's like, "Do you want a macaroni and cheese?"
Right.
And just as that dynamic was great. But generally, the show was really relaxed, which I really
Yep.
liked, and then that's how I kind of imagine Hawkeye to be anyway, and especially kind of like that series where they actually took everything, the graphics from and the beginning sound and everything.
Hmm.
That kind of like it was felt like that kind of relaxed Hawkeye show. He gets in trouble, you have that, like that kind of like. And then Katie Bishop is really good,
Hmm.
especially like really like curious, kind of like wants to be superhero through and
Yeah,
through, and then she has problems with that. And
yeah,
and of course villains were great, especially that sword guy. At first I really I didn't understand the guy, but then the
yeah.
last two episodes, exactly what you wanted from the guy, kind of thing. Like you're really good actor as well to pick it up. And I think he's like isn't he like Avengers villain or some stuff?
Oh, is that true? Yeah, I don't know.
I think he is, because there's one a sword guy who is a villain, and I don't remember,
Oh,
like me and names when I start talking online. I just my things that just escape from me. But
yeah.
yeah, it's really good. So there's a swords
Okay.
guy. He's supposedly he marries oh my god, blanking. I can see everything in my head, but I can't tell you anything now.
Yeah.
It's like there is this one of the my god, I'm gonna really, I can't even put the sentence together because I can't think of the names. Anyway, there's a dynamic. He's married somebody who's pretending to be somebody else, so he's supposed to
Okay.
pretend somebody else, and takes over the body of the person. So I read recently about that episode, and the sword guy was there. So I don't know if it's gonna be what they're gonna do in the future, but a lot of people are talking the same kind of feel about it. So hopefully he will be there. And Kingpin, that was odd.
Dude.
I'm not gonna spoil it because this is werewolf that hasn't watched it yet. But
Right.
Kingpin, we could just mention this character.
He was so good.
Yeah. Oh, the guy is Vincent is just superb as an actor.
He's
And
unbelievable. Like the
yeah,
tension in the scenes that he was in, the
yeah,
tension
yeah,
was palpable, where I was
yeah.
like, oh shit, something is gonna go down. Like he just steps onto the screen. He embodies that role so well that you
No.
really or I found myself anyway on
Mm-hmm,
edge of
mm-hmm.
like, what's he gonna do? Is he
Yeah.
gonna snap? Like, man, is he good? He's the last two. I would say that for that show, most of it I didn't like. The last two episodes I loved. I
Yeah.
actually, by the time it was over, I was like, okay, I think I got into the spirit of it. That just wasn't
Mm-hmm.
crazy about the first ones, but those last two episodes were really, really good. And again, like some of the dynamics, it's hard for me with that actress who plays Yelena because she was in Midsummer and I hated that movie with a passion. So every time I see her face, I associate her with that role. So it took me a little while to like, I would see her on screen and I would just think of that movie and how much I dislike the movie. It's totally unfair. It's not, it's not her fault, but I just really disliked that movie that I would see that movie. But
Which
by the
movie?
end of it, again, like I started really getting into her character. You know what I mean? Like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
when they sat down for the mac and cheese and stuff and had that conversation, I
Mm-hmm.
found myself getting into it a little bit more, and that kind of
Yeah.
helped. So by the end, I kind of dig her as a character. She feels like she's going to be pretty big in kind of the next phase of whatever Marvel phase. You know what I mean? It feels like they're making transitions to a bunch of different characters. I don't know if you saw Spider-Man as well too.
No, no,
but
no. I have.
it feels like they're making transitions. You know what I mean? So that's all I'll say about that.
That's the only thing. Spider-Man hasn't. I haven't seen it. I don't. We can't really take our son
Yeah, of
away from
course,
us, so we can't go to cinema. No,
for sure.
this kind of bullshit now in England, especially, is starting to kick off really badly. So I don't really want it to go. I
Yep,
mean, I can wait, to be honest.
yep.
Yeah, no, Jared, I agree. Kate Bishop was the star of the show anyway. I think
Yeah.
she's kind of like, it feels like transitional character as well towards the Hawkeye taking full time. Maybe if the actor wants to fuck off, they have to way to go. With Elena, I don't know which movie, The Midsummer. I don't know which movie is that.
Ari Aster is the director's name. He did a movie called Hereditary that I absolutely
Uh-huh.
love, and
Uh-huh.
then his follow up was this Midsummer, and I
Okay.
just really didn't like it. Like, actually,
Okay.
physically made me angry. I didn't like it so much. You know what I mean?
Wow. Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so I just really associate her, that pouty look from
Uh-huh.
that movie. It just like really took me a bit. And Jared makes a good point, because again, it's one of those classic shows that even people that I talk to that don't really like comic book shows and stuff,
Yeah.
they've all said pretty much the same thing. She is so likable. That actress is so likable. They
Yeah.
loved her as just a character, right? So I
Mhm.
think that again, it's this casting is so goddamn important, man. Like it's the crux of the whole thing failing
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
blowing up, right?
Well, the thing is with the you watched Black Widow movie, I guess. I presume
Yeah,
you
we
seen
did.
it. So
Yep.
you've seen her as well in there, Yelena.
Yep.
So she made up that moment where like it was sad, but she's the funny one anyway, because
Hmm.
the Black Widow was very serious at the almost all the time until she was
Yeah.
with Yelena anyway. So
Right.
like she was picking up, but with her as an actress, I think what she does really well is that moments of director, her, and all of them together, picking the right time when to do that, kind of like it's naturally done for her. It didn't wasn't like some people are like you can kind of sense from the actors they were pushed to do it, and they
Hmm.
try to do their best, but they doesn't come out. With her, it feels natural. That's the
Right.
thing I liked about it.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well, and especially for the Marvel stuff, that chemistry is
mhm.
so important in all of
Yeah,
these TV shows, movies. Not that it's not in other genres too, but it really is
yeah,
kind of the linchpin of Marvel movies and TV. Those relationships and the way they kind of play with that dialogue, where they're sort of talking over each other a little bit, and when they're having this kind of friendly back and
yeah,
forth and stuff. Like, yeah,
yeah.
it's good. But holy smokes, Kingpin,
Mm-hmm.
so good, so
Yeah.
good.
I think this is how the TV. That's what Disney or Marvel does it. Like that the way they give you like it's very difficult to basically introduce your characters, do it quickly and efficiently, blah blah blah, and then let's go with the storyline. Even though especially we have only 6 episodes of this the whole
Hmm.
season, so and it
Yeah,
goes quite quickly, pacey. I was really surprised about Hawkeye's wife,
yeah,
because that's another dynamic I've never
right.
even I think they touched. I think they just introduced her as like the background character. And I was like, what?
Hmm.
Oh, gives you a good different dimension, especially when you're talking about
Hmm.
Agents of Shield. And I enjoyed the Agents of Shield TV show. To be honest, I watched that as well. It
Yep.
was two first seasons were really shit, and the
Okay.
rest of it was going really well, the storyline and stuff like that. So I enjoyed that.
Right. Yeah, I never
Anyway,
saw
so
any of those at all, but I've heard
yeah,
that same thing, that it's pretty good.
because I read a book about Agent Shield completely. It was written by I don't remember who was writing it. Was it surely not Brubaker? I don't think he did that. Somebody is one of those Marvel writers in that time. But anyway, it's really good. Hickman, I think Hickman did
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Anyway, so it was really good story, and then I saw that TV show was coming out. I was like, shit, I want to watch that, and then it just picked up really well. At the beginning, it was really scrappy.
Right.
It's just like, oh, okay, that's like I don't know if I want to go through it, and then I went, kind of waited out, and then the third season came in, and suddenly started picking up the pace, and I was like, oh, okay, it's just
Yeah.
a good show. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in that sense. Also, what did I watch as well? Oh, it's like holidays. So I watched Titans. TV show.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Everybody, two first seasons don't even watch. It's really
Okay.
actually I was like, oh, that's really bad. Why I'm doing that to myself? But then
Yeah.
third season kicks in and it just kicks good. It goes through every single Batman lore and it goes through
Yeah.
everything. Every character is introduced, like Nightwing. You have your Beast Boy. You have Diana Troy, one of the Wonder Woman lore. Then you
Okay.
have who who else was there? Oh my god, I'm blanking again. Anyway, really good, and it picked up really well. And I was like, the last I think there's only 4 seasons now. Netflix has it if you do own
Okay,
Netflix. So and Netflix do to have it. So yeah, really good. I really liked it. I like DC lore. I really like that because you introduced to all the Batmans. Most of them are part of Damian. Damian wasn't introduced yet. But then you have all the Nightwing's beginning as a Robin. And they went to Barbara, and Barbara's in a wheelchair, and she doesn't even have a leg. And I was like, oh wow, that's a bit. And they quite like the deaths and like proper violent, like not something you should show to your like 8-year-old maybe even.
Yeah.
But quite violent and stuff. The Joker was just mentioned, like the laughter and all that stuff. I guess some certain things they couldn't do it, but they went through like really comic book like lore because Jeff Johns is writing it apparently, or helping to write that as well. So really good. I really enjoyed that. I was like surprised because I really like the Beast Boy. Because the Teen Titans Go TV, like an animated TV show.
I know it. Yep.
That's the best DC TV show. Point. It's my son watch it, but it generally is hilarious. It has amazing script, has a great animation, and it has great soundtracks. And it just doesn't take seriously because it's a kids TV show. But damn, they pick up on some points, like really serious points they go for. And like teach you how to deal with money, teach you how to deal with like love, family, all that stuff. But it's hilarious, and you can't stop watching. There was this the best episode where, well, I just had his name and I forgot. Cyborg. So he had this soundtrack he loved, and he couldn't do anything just listening to that song. And that song is great, like 80s, proper 80s song, and it's just like goes for it. And it's the best episode that I've watched because it's just it had that theme, like with colors, with everything, and it's just like, and he's like singing, and they change animations of each character, making them grown up, kind of thing, and it's like it's just hilarious. Honestly, I highly recommend to watch that.
Yeah, I've watched a couple episodes with Lillian, and we've both got a kick out of it. She's had some of the comics as well too.
Yes, the Starfire, she's hilarious in that one. She's like, like supposedly like alien, kind of dumb alien, she's just learning whatever, all the humanity, how she deals with that stuff. But she's like, and the way she speaks and in the right moments when she just makes a joke, it's just like, you can't stop cracking up. And it's
nice.
You can't, it's really good. It's like for whole family, you sit down, it's just, somebody will have a kick off about somebody else because it's just really cleverly written. It's just not like, it doesn't feel like the script is made for kids only. Right. That's the thing. And it's just beauty about that kind of thing. When that they manage balance. To, you kind of like have everybody to can enjoy the same thing, like so.
Yeah, cool.
And as I said, the Titan show is like, it has Starfire as well, which I remember just now. And then she's like at the beginning, she was almost looked like a slut. Like she was dressed up really kind of weird with all this kind of coloring, and then but then afterwards they tame her down because she's supposed to be Tamaranian, and she's from the different kind of like she's an alien, but the way she looking like a stripper kind of thing, like at the beginning, like too much of the exposure, and and it just like felt really weird because what people knows, especially fans know Starfire, she doesn't look like that at all,
Yeah.
She does kind of like has the same kind of hair with a George Perez run of the Teen Titans. So but she brings up a good wave of different kind of character dynamics in that show. So interesting. But if somebody has time to spare, especially in the holiday time, or people looking for something to watch, an episode would be quite interesting, especially later stage after 2 seasons. I highly recommend not to watch those first 2 because just. And
then I guess the other thing that's come out recently, or if it's out already, is that I haven't watched it yet. That Book of Boba Fett is the other one that is on Disney now or whatever, right?
I don't know if it's out yet, to be honest.
Okay.
I think it's gonna come just right before the new year, as far as I remember. Okay. So definitely gonna watch that because I'm a fan of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But we'll see how we're gonna crank up that stuff. Yeah. But apart of anything, sure. I don't know. Oh yeah, and then I watched a new movie with I forgot the name, but Unforgivable. It's from Netflix. Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, yeah.
She doesn't come up with movies often, so when she
Hmm.
comes, I always tend to watch because I really like her acting. I
Yeah,
really
she's great.
enjoyed it. Absolutely. This was just like a prisoner comes back from prison to try to get
Right.
into back to the life, and you basically uncovers the true reason why she was in prison for 20 years.
Mm,
And she's basically a main character, but she barely speaks. And that's the beauty about it,
yeah.
because it's just you see her torment, and then she is, that's the thing with Sandra Bullock. Everybody, somebody who doesn't like her for sure, but I like her a lot because when she comes up to do a movie, anything, whatever she does, when she does comes up, I always watch it, and I really like it, and I really did enjoy it. But
Hmm.
I felt really good to watch that one. Good actors as
Yeah.
well, and Vincent was Kingpin actor. He's there as well
Oh, nice.
in that movie, and also the Punisher, the
Oh,
John,
yeah.
whatever his name. So
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
in there as well. So good cast as well.
Mm. Yeah, I guess she said that that was really tough for her, that role, that she doesn't know if she would do dramatic roles like that again just because of the strain it put on her. That's got to be tough.
Yeah, because the subject, it's
Yeah.
basically a murder she's going for. But then she comes back, it's like, like people are doing something bad, and they, like we don't forget. We just know the title of the whatever people doing, and then straight
Hmm.
away we decide whatever, the person is like really shit because without knowing background story.
Hmm.
Because that's how we tend to be, It's easier
Right.
to basically see a fault in the person rather than actually find out what's true, or maybe try to find out what's true behind the door. So,
Hmm.
and the truth is actually quite like, wow, okay, and it
Yeah, yeah.
makes sense. But she does make the movie because the way, as I say, like really little for her to say, but
Hmm.
she says a lot of it in the face, and you can see like really well acted as well. Once again,
Yeah,
so
cool.
really good.
Did you the other did you watch the Doctor Strange trailer?
No, I haven't. I don't even
Oh,
know it's out. I didn't know if
yeah,
it's
Doctor
out.
Strange trailer. Yeah, check out the Doctor Strange
Do
trailer.
I want to? This is spoiling a lot. Like you
I
usually
mean,
really
there's
spoils.
I guess there's sort of spoiler-ish, I suppose, but I mean, I don't know. I haven't obviously none of us have seen the movie yet. I think it gives you a good tease. I
That was
think
a
so, Yeah,
so.
I think it looks great. I mean, but I'm a total nerd, so anything Doctor Strange I'm gonna dig. So, yeah.
Look, I'm a huge fan of Doctor Strange, but really wary when it comes to the trailers because the shit
I hear
like
that.
really cut, and everything is like whole movie in the last
Right.
10 minutes or the 5 minutes, whatever they try to explode.
Hmm.
But one, what's her name? Wanda,
Benedict?
Wanda,
Oh, Wanda.
Wanda.
Yeah,
She's in there in that trailer as well.
she sure is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Does
Yeah,
he
no,
appear in the
it looks
Spider-Man as
promising.
well? Does he appear in
He
Spider-Man movie?
he's in Spider-Man as well too. And I mean, that was
Oh,
the thing. Like
oh
overall, we
fuck.
really enjoyed the Spider-Man movie. It was a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
yeah.
But there was this kind of the main premise that involved Doctor Strange. I just sort of didn't buy. I just had to really like just let it go and just okay, just go with it. Don't think about it too
Mm-hmm.
much. Just go with it and then just get into the movie. Overall, it was a very enjoyable movie. A lot of people are saying the same thing about it, that there's a lot of rave of like, it's our favorite Marvel movie, this, that, and the other thing. I'd say
Mm-hmm.
it's up there for me. It was really, really good. There were some very, very entertaining moments in it. We
Okay.
went as a family, so we all went to the theater to see it. And
Okay.
it was a good time.
Yeah. So yeah, I heard that there's like one of the best Spider-Man movies. Well, that's what I heard
Hmm.
saying. But look,
I don't know, man. That Spider-Verse for me is the best Spider-Man movie. That animated
oh
one,
yeah, yeah,
unbelievable. Did you see the
yeah.
trailer for the next one?
No.
Oh, dude, that trailer doesn't really spoil too much. It's a
Oh, okay.
phenomenal trailer. Honestly,
Cool.
watch it because
I've
again, the
seen
one
just
thing I was worried
like
about,
a poster, kind of like a poster
right?
or whatever, like I've seen on the web, but I haven't
Yeah.
watched the trailer.
The one
I
thing I was
don't
worried
tend
about
to.
was that maybe they wouldn't do the animation the same way they did in the first one, but this
And
trailer puts my mind at ease because
oh, okay,
it looks just as good. Like the animation, it's very stylish and stylistic, and
yeah.
it looks so much fun because that first one was such a blast to watch.
Yeah, I still can watch it like many times, and I still
Yeah,
enjoy it. I
yeah,
watched like I don't know how many times I watched it, but I really enjoy it.
yeah,
Every single time, the soundtrack, everything is just like the way it's done really well. So
yeah.
it's really nice
It's
too.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Doctor
Okay.
Strange trailer sold Werewolf by lunchtime, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably gonna have to watch it after we talk.
Yeah, it's worth
Because
checking
you're
out.
making
But
me
I totally
curious.
hear you on being
Yeah.
wary of trailers. I totally get it.
Are you gonna show off your Doctor Strange figure you got?
It's back there. Yeah, I'll show it in a bit when I go to
Does it? Is it
refresh my
glow? Does it
memory.
glow?
No, it doesn't glow. No, it does
Ah,
not.
fuck. That's kind of disappointing. Because it's kind
So
of bland, to be
I've
honest.
taken, yeah. Well, but the thing is, I'm just a sucker. You know, I'm just a total sucker. Here, yeah. So I mean, the thing that I've been doing is I've
Yeah.
seen some videos where people put their figures on like this this kind of wire, this under wire when you're building models and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I did that. I saw this video where this guy was talking about it and
Mhm.
making like a disc at the bottom for it to stand on,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of have them elevate over everything. So
Yeah.
I have the what if Doctor Strange kind of hovering above the rest of the figures, and then I have the other his astral projection hovering behind him, like it's coming out of his body. So it's super nerd, like it's ridiculous. I'm sitting there playing with these figures. What does my life come to? Posing my action figures.
But there's the people who actually gets into those figure collections. That's what they do. They do the scenes.
Totally.
You know, like they have like I don't know what there's a specific name, which of course I'm blanking by saying, but because we're speaking, but they do the actual scenes from the actual like the movie they like or the comic book they like. So they actually, those things you were talking about, you can purchase them, but I think people can surely make it because you can buy those plastic
you can
ones.
buy these, they're clear plastic, I've seen.
Yeah.
But then I saw this guy doing it with this wire that I have as well too for sculpting. It's like, we've got it, I'll just give that a try.
Yeah,
you can see it for sure, but it's still neat to kind of have them kind of higher up than everybody else. And but I mean the figures look good. I mean, I've got 3 Doctor Strange figures now, and it's as ridiculous as it is, I've got them. I just couldn't resist, so
I keep on seeing that the one statue of Doctor Strange I really want, and I keep on seeing it online. It's like, fuck, but it's so expensive. It's like, no, it's not worth it. It's just a bloody fucking poly, whatever, stone or something. Right. I keep on trying to tell me that, but I don't have any of those kind of sizes.
Sorry, he's just saying that he can buy the stands on eBay. My Storm is flying as well. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't have any of Doctor Strange that size figure. I have a smaller ones, but I never tend to budge. And I mean, I'm a fan, so I should maybe. But because of every single time you show me yours, like especially that What If one, and then you showed me this, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I really want
the What If one is so good. It's really good. And then that one that my comic shop has, that Japanese Doctor Strange, it's like over $100 or whatever. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's unbelievable. Like, there's no way I'm buying it. Like, I every time I go in the shop, I have a look at it, and I think I sent you photos of it. But it looks so good. But it's so.
But you're rich now. You sold your thing.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, man, that money is gone already. We put it in for Christmas, to kind of get us through Christmas a little bit.
So now you can you have evidence that for your wife to tell you, okay, you see, that's why, that's why I did it.
her mind was blown actually when I sold that at Batman Adventures. She was like, I'm sorry, what? It's like, yeah, that's how much it sold for. She's like, holy shit. So, because I mean, we invested, I think, $65 into it, right? So
wow, fuck, that return is like just what, like 10 times fold and even more.
Yeah, I mean, it sold for $9.75 Canadian, so it's nice. So that came in handy. And then eBay, it took a couple of days to get the money into the account from eBay, and of course they take off their stuff on the top end and that sort of thing. But still, it was still a really.
But they only take maximum 20%, isn't it, on fee or 10%?
I think so. So there's the eBay fees, and then they take a percentage of the sale as well too. So, but it came right at the right time because we still had to buy some groceries for the dinner. So all of a sudden there was this kind of little bump in the bank account of some cash,
so you can splurge. You can splurge. Oh wow!
30 Marvel Legends. Oh wow! 29 Star Wars Black Series. But low on patience with Mrs. Werewolf. Yeah, that shelf just behind me there. I'm trying, my famous limiting myself. That's where the toys go. There's 1 or 2 things up here, but not much. And I just try to keep it to that. So now that thing is full. So that's the cutoff until I see something else, then we'll have to make some room somehow. The only one that I have close to me here is my buddy Bradley
Oh wow, look at that.
from Neat Stuff with
Mhm.
actual real hair,
Oh no,
which
really?
which is creepy as hell. It's super creepy. Yeah,
Ew. Somebody's
yeah,
hair, man. You have
I
somebody's hair
know.
in your house. Ew.
Ew.
Anyway, shall we even attempt to talk about comics? Because I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
sure.
yeah, you can start. That's what I want
Oh,
to
okay.
say.
Sure.
I went all hafuffle about one thing in my mind, and it's just like, well, you start.
So I'll start with this one. So at Christmas, I got a couple of books. I always have
Ooh,
kind of a book depository wish list going. And then I also got a gift certificate to a local bookstore just down the road from us. So we
nice.
went on Boxing Day, believe it or not. The bookstore was actually pretty empty,
Mm.
which was kind of awesome. And
Hmm.
picked up some books there. We also have we have a card, like we're kind of, you don't have to pay for it, but it's like a membership card. So it's a
Yeah.
rewards card. So
Hmm.
that gave us an extra discount as well. So
Oh,
I ended up
cool.
getting 3 books and they ended up costing me like $5 a piece once I
Oh,
subtracted
wow.
all the discounts and everything.
Okay,
So I
cool.
took a chance on 2 of them. This one was a big chance. I never heard of it. I don't know the creator. The cover really drew me in. The
Uh-huh.
company is Magnetic, and Magnetic does these Sergio Topi collections as well too.
Hmm.
And they do
Hmm.
the same thing on the Topi collections. They do these nice kind of rounded corners,
Yeah,
which I
because they
kind of
don't.
really dig.
Yeah, because they don't break in. Because
Yep.
after a while, your books go like damage.
So I've leafed through this. These are just the
Hmm.
end papers. So kind of a sketch. I leafed through
Hmm.
this and I really, really love the art. There's a good mix of, there's some watercolor stuff like this. Let me just find the first few pages. So there's kind of watercolor
Uh-huh.
art.
Uh-huh.
And then it kind of transitions at a point to this very nice line art as well.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and
That's very
really,
cool.
really nice. And then sometimes you get a blend of both. Like you'll get some watercolor panels, and then you'll
Hmm.
get some kind of uh, um, just basic, a little more basic line art. But I love
Hmm.
the style incredibly, like a lot. It really reminds me of kind of Dave Cooper type of style, but
Hmm.
it's really, really nice.
Beautiful.
Um, the only downside was the story itself. The story didn't do
Oh,
much for me, and it
shit.
was super awkward at times. And because they kind of look like these little kids,
Hmm.
there's this weird getting in touch with sexuality thing that happens
Oh,
in here
wow.
that
Okay.
really made me uncomfortable because they look like kids. It was
Yeah.
really weird. Like this page here was the one. So they start kissing and she puts her hand down his pants, and it
Yeah.
just is like, it was
Oh,
very
wow.
much like, what the fuck am I reading here? Some sort of weird child porn thing. And
Oh,
then there was a
dude.
couple of ways that it was written where it was really, um, I don't know, instead of just showing us, it was telling us stuff as well too. So I mean, he's trying to set up this kind of internal struggle. And at one point, she gets trapped in a cave that's filling up with water. And
Hmm.
it's just very, very literal as she's trying to find the staircase.
Yeah.
The staircase is like the start of a new life. Time to discover my destiny. So just very literal of like having her walking up the staircase into the light when they've
Hmm.
been talking about her struggles throughout this whole thing. It just
Hmm.
was a little too literal for me, where it's like, and
Hmm.
it read like somebody who's a first time writer, which is not a bad thing. Everybody has
Yeah.
to start somewhere. It just, I found it kind of tough to read through sometimes. There was some
Hmm.
interesting things happening, but honestly, every single page of the art is gorgeous. I really, really like the style quite a bit. So I'm going to look into this. Tony Sandoval is the creator's name.
Hmm.
Look into Tony's stuff to see what else he's done, because
Hmm.
I'm absolutely intrigued. And I don't know if this is maybe the first work that he's done, or where this sits in kind of his look at this. 6-time Eisner Award nominated writer artist Tony Sandoval did something called Doom Boy, A Glance Backwards, Water
Hmm.
Snakes. So yeah, presents a magical tale of secrets and dreams and the challenges of growing up. So beautiful to look at. I wouldn't kind of recommend it from a reading standpoint, but if you want to sit and look at some gorgeous art, it's also nice that it's a bit of a bigger format too. So
it helps out as well.
Usual comparison to the comic, so a little bit taller and quite a bit wider. So a nice, yeah. I'm glad I took a chance on it. And again, like with the gift cards and everything, that's the best time to take a chance on a book. So I figured, why not? And this Magnetic, I don't know much else about Magnetic. I should really look at their website to see what else they've put out. But the Topi stuff is phenomenal. Really nice. Like, and that was the other thing, I guess, if Damien were here, the binding and everything, like everything opens up really nicely. I don't feel any pages separating. You could actually sit and have it open up nicely. They leave a lot of room in the middle as well too for the margins, so you don't feel like you're having to force the book open even further to get that inside bit. So yeah, there you go. Book number 1. Yeah.
I don't have it here with me because my son decided to crack my iPad screen, but I started reading this Lady S. So I read the first because of the Earl Grey was talking about it. And I read the first, this basically introduction to her and how she came to be. And as I say, I can't show it to you. It's kind of sad, but don't have anything to show. But it's that the guy, I think you read stuff from him, yeah? Van Ham?
Yep. Oh yeah. Van Ham is fantastic.
Yeah. So he's basically the writer of the series, and really good. It's so basically you have a main character. She is Estonian, but like Estonian Jew. Rivka's surname was, and then but her dad, he was a scientist, and her mom was a German teacher, and then basically they were assassinated because of the time where the Russia, like KGBs and all that stuff. So they got rid of them because they were doing something, or they wanted to escape basically Russia, because Estonia in that time was still a part of the Russian Union. It's the same like my country.
Yep.
And then, so they get murdered in front of her, basically, and the kid basically escapes when she was like, 8, 12? Or even 12, I think, and they get killed. And then she escapes from there, and then she gets to find out that another child who's basically help her, a boy. And then basically he saves her, but then there's another thing while they're escaping, something bad happens. They're trying to escape, and there's this, the river caves in winter. It's basically the guy gets inside and she thinks he's dead, and she tries to basically survive herself, and she ends up being in Europe. And then she basically, before the death of family, her dad said to her, go to these people, I know, Americans, they will help you no matter whatever happens, just find them somehow.
Yep.
And then years later, after she's like 18, she basically found them in a train, and having conversations, and then how she became Lady S is that this guy who knows her background is basically telling her not to, like, I'm going to tell you about your family, who you actually are, where you're from, and blah blah blah. And then like that's how basically tell her, like, if you're not going to do that for me, or some stuff for me, you've been in trouble, basically, or her family are going to get in trouble. So that's why she becomes this espionage character in a way, without warning her. And her new dad, or the adopted dad, is diplomat, in like those diplomats for the countries. It goes into another country, represents the country, blah blah blah. So he's basically that, and she's helping him. So, and that's how the beginning starts, and it's really well written. I'm just giving you a short burst, but it's honestly reads really well, and it's like a really good like espionage tale with a female-led character, and she gets it basically so far, because I started reading the second series as well. And then there's another picks up in Stockholm in Sweden, where the Nobel Prize nominees gets in trouble, and she just gets surrounded by it because by chance she's in that town, in that place with her dad. So yeah, it's kind of interesting because they pick up the right times. I think he's using the right moments and time in actual history and basically plays those characters in there, because whatever the beginning of her background started it with is basically happened before as well. So
Right.
like occupation and like the KGBs of Russia and like all those espionage tales and stuff like that seems to be kind of like whatever I've like kind of know while I was growing up. So yeah, it's a really good involved tale, and the art is beautiful, of course.
Yeah.
It's really well done. It's just like I honestly would have liked to, because it's such a bigger page, but I have it digitally because I found like those sales in Christmas happens, and I was like, oh, how come I'm seeing this? It's like people know we were talking on YouTube, and then just came up.
Exactly.
So I picked up a couple of them for like nothing, to be honest. I don't know why
That's
they
cool.
just like sheepish, but I hate buying digital, but I just couldn't, like I couldn't resist because it was, Earl Grey was talking about it, and it's like a right up my alley, what I like to read anyway, especially female-led character and stuff like that. So it was interesting.
Yeah, it's a series I have on my wish list. I just haven't dipped into it yet, but it doesn't surprise me that you would like it. Like he's a phenomenal writer, and everything that I have from him so far, I really dig. So
that Western, isn't it? He wrote it, isn't it?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So we both read it and we both liked it. So it's no surprise I still enjoy it. It's just really easy characters to like to get into as well. It's not overly complicated. It's just like your typical like even movie scenes. Like you see like whatever happens, people get in trouble, she tries to escape. And there's this beautiful scenes like in the second series, she's in the hotel and she tries to escape. So basically just takes away, like pretends to be something like we're in trouble, and she drops from one balcony level to another one. It's like kind of like those kind of like little snippets you are kind of get familiarize yourself, because if you watch any movies like that, you'll definitely know what those kind of scenes they pick. Like that damsel in distress, of course she's playing that, and everything happens to her what she wants, but she's like the clever one as well. She's not like really stupid, because she was when she was trying to basically survive while she was young, she was a thief. It's the only way to make money, so and she used to be doing that. So she's kind of like able to deal with people, and of course her background of having parents being killed basically by people coming into the house and basically taking them away and stuff like that, and shooting her mom right in front of her. So it's kind of like that kind of stuff. So really good. So far, as I say, I read, but the beauty about digital for me now is I can read it before I sleep. It's really good, because otherwise I can't. I mean, I don't like to have a light before I sleep to read as well, because my eyes gets hurt. I don't know what. It's kind of like, but when you have if you have a tablet, it's kind of easy, just watch it. So now I'm gonna really have to be careful. My screen is cracked, but because of my son decided to crack the screen. I was like, oh my god, it's been so long I had it, so I don't want it to. I kind of like I use it for reasons and stuff like that, so I'm trying to be careful not to crack more screens so I can actually use it anyway. So it's beautiful, actually. It's really good to read. I really enjoy it. So she's as a character really good. So
no, for sure. And getting those sales even for digital, just to be able to kind of test it out and see how you like it, I think it's a great idea.
Exactly. It's especially all those before all those, like Christmases and Fridays, whatever those, they tend to have a sale of those as well. So it's interesting, but I like to have it and it's good.
Cool.
Sometimes you can just those, like remembering, like Earl Grey talking about it and showing those album covers, because there's the company who's producing those books is actually UK based. So I actually can actually purchase them, and they're not expensive. Like the first one, because it's much
Cinebook
thicker.
one too, right?
Yeah, it's the same company. It's that company we were talking about, Cinebook. So that's the UK based, so you could buy it. So and they have like all of them, I think, for sale. Sometimes they go out of like out sale because of that. So
it seems like the stuff, they do pretty good at keeping them in print. And they did the
Mm-hmm.
same with Thorgal as well too. The first few volumes were kind of
Mm-hmm.
double sized, you know, which was nice to kind of get you into it. Same price, but just getting a couple of stories as opposed to just one, right? It makes it feel. I was a little disappointed when it got to the point where it was only kind of the book kind of cut in half and it was the same price. But you know,
Yeah.
I like the idea of having a few stories in one or a couple of stories in one.
Her first volume of
Yep.
Lady S is 156
Oh,
pages.
sweet.
Quite big, man. Like they
Awesome.
really took time telling the story, background story of her.
Right, right.
And the second story is like 50 pages, so really small. I was like, oh, I read it already. Like, I was like,
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
hell?
yeah.
You know, like, so the second story was as good as always. Not like typical espionage tale, nothing overly blown, but there's this background. The guy who's basically trying to get her to do whatever he wants her to do. He's a part of this group of people who's supposed to be on the background, looking at everything, you know, like whatever happens in the world, and they get involved when they don't like something. So, and nothing is disclosed about it. He doesn't tell her name. She doesn't even know who he works for. The only thing we know is that he knows everything about everybody else. So, so that intrigue is actually what kept me kind of like wanting to read more as well,
Right,
because we'll see.
right.
Maybe I even get some. I keep on looking on eBay to see if somebody is selling them, but it doesn't seem to be. It's like people like it, they probably don't sell them. So, but as I say, it's really good. Art is beautiful as well. So that's nice to
Keep an eye
look.
on Book Depository too. You know, as much as I'm not crazy about always promoting them, but keep an eye on there because they do have some pretty good sales, and it is free shipping worldwide. You know what I mean? I know
Yeah.
that's not much of a difference to you because I think
Yeah.
Book Depositories is based in the UK, but
Yeah.
just keep an eye there. I know that they have some of the books there, and see what the comparative, if it's a comparative to eBay stuff.
Yeah, and
Probably a bit cheaper, I'm
Jared was
guessing.
saying about those sales. You see that's what annually they do
Yeah,
that. Amazon Comixology, they annually do this. So a
yeah.
lot of I think it's more in America because I've been looking around to see in the UK ones, and they're not really that cheap. You know, like they say $1-2, and then if you go on the American Amazon website, they are $1-2. And then went to UK one, it's like £5. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, why do? But anyway, I don't know. Sometimes
Yeah.
last time I remember last year I was looking at, because but the thing is with Marvel Masterworks, I really want them to actually have them, because I really like them as a book itself. It's really nice.
Yeah, my son
Especially,
has got a few of them. They're beautiful.
yeah,
It's just whenever we find them, they're
yeah,
always so damn expensive. The actual hardcovers, they're so
yeah,
expensive.
yeah. And now they're doing some like cheaper versions. I think they go
Oh,
on they by doing kind of like the epic ones, but then the
right, right,
slimmer versions of that, and they
right.
call them Masterworks as well, which I don't know much detail about that, but that's what the things I heard about. They doing it
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Maybe it's just the market is good for that kind of stuff, I guess. Especially epics. Epics blew up, like, you know, like people before never looked at them, and
Yeah.
now everybody just wants to buy. And you can't find like Daredevil ones. You know, like we had I forgot his name. He came to us and we was showing us that epic edition of Daredevil. And I was looking, it's impossible. It's sold out. It's like out of print as well. So it's like, oof.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, first 13 werewolf. Holy smokes.
Wow. Jeez, that's cool. So you're a fan of Spider-Man then?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like watching Damien's Instagram now because he's keep on putting those. I didn't know he had that many Spider-Man books. I guess he is a fan
I
as
think a
well.
lot of those came from Sam, I think is what happened with those.
Oh, I see.
His
Okay.
friend who passed away there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so sad. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Whew. Okay, so show us another hardcover. Come on.
So yeah, exactly right. Another hardcover. So this was another one that I bought from the bookstore.
Yeah.
Paulo Costa was talking about it when I hung out with him just recently. And then I think Earl Grey was talking about it too. It's a French-Canadian book called Giant. And it's about this main character his nickname is Giant, and he's working on Rockefeller Center in the early 30s.
Nice.
And it's kind of a tale about kind of these Irish immigrants coming to America, and kind of throughout, like I'll really do my best not to do any spoilers, because the story arc for the main character Giant is
Mm-hmm.
really interesting. I found it really, really intriguing where he came from and why he's doing the things that he's doing. So I guess it sparked from seeing these kind of classic photos of these
Yeah.
steel workers who were building these
Mm-hmm.
buildings without harnesses, and their stories of kind of indigenous tribes as well too, running along the beams.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with the guy out in Saskatchewan when I was out there building
Mm-hmm.
tanks for holding tanks for frac sand, and he was
Mm-hmm.
telling me stories about working on communications towers with when he was a kid, and seeing people falling off communications towers because they weren't really
Jesus.
doing any harnesses. They were just climbing these towers to
Yeah.
kind of build, and just that
Mm-hmm.
idea is crazy. But this story, it's really, I really, really liked it. It's another one of those books where it feels like once it was over, I could read other volumes of these same characters in
Uh-huh.
this world and just kind of continue with their lives. I don't think that that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else beyond this. It's really, really nice. The art is pretty great. It didn't kind of jump off the page at me at first.
Yeah.
But once I kind of got into it, I found myself really digging it. The
Mm-hmm.
colors are really nice. There's some just really, the characters are just so well portrayed. Even
Cool.
the ones that are a little more mysterious, or even the ones that are a little more sideline, like there's this female reporter in the story, and even her character is developed to a nice degree
Wow.
as well too. And she doesn't appear very much in the story overall. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's fantastic. And then another kind of side story with people immigrating to the States from Ireland again. So this woman and her children coming to North America, coming to New York, and what
Mm-hmm.
the life was like at that time, and the things that were happening, and kind of like the mob ties. And they had a little bit of a dispute with the Italians, and the Giant character, I think, he's kind of like this really just quiet guy at the beginning of the book, but
Mm-hmm.
once you kind of get halfway through, his character really starts opening up and sharing, and you get to learn a little bit more, and he starts kind of communicating with people.
Mm-hmm.
It's well, highly recommended. It's a really good one. So it's NBM Graphic Novels.
Wow, you'll pick up some names I never heard of.
And yeah, and this is the thing, like, again, it's thanks to guys like Earl Grey and Paulo Costa specifically for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So originally came out in 2018, and then the English version came out in 2020, so last year.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, French Canadian. Yeah, and it was originally published in French as Giants Volume 1 and 2.
I see.
So they put both of them in one kind of hardcover. And yeah, really, really good. So it was nice to kind of see that in the bookstore there. A nice
Mm-hmm.
surprise. And that's the thing, going to this bookstore by our house, I'm always kind of impressed. The graphic novel and comic section, there's always some really interesting things they get in. It's nice to see that they're taking more chances. Even if I'm the only one that's buying it, at least they get some of this stuff in, because they
It
only
is.
ever have like one copy of this kind of thing. There's
I
never
bet.
multiple copies, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it's huge risks because not everybody want to take a chance on stuff like not brave
Yeah.
enough. We're not brave enough. I think
Yeah.
we tend not to. Like just whatever you're familiar with or whatever you kind of know about, you tend to look
Yeah.
at. But it's really good that you can kind of like go for it and then just pick up
Well, that's
something
all
and
thanks to YouTube. We've talked about it so many times.
yeah,
Like, if it wasn't for these
yeah,
YouTube people that we watch and kind of talk to and hang out
hmm
with, like, there's stuff that would just completely go over my head, stuff I would
yeah,
never give a second look to. So it's very
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, it's much more easier, and now that's why the kick of the comic books has always been alive for me because of the YouTube and continue. If you're looking at continuous conversation, especially kind of like those chats, you just somebody picks up something and like you never
Yeah.
heard of it. So I'm going to
Yeah,
show you
totally.
something I've never heard about, but it was something I just thought, well, why not? It was a pound,
Oh,
and then
nice. That's a good
but it
start.
I'll show it to you now. So it's
Okay.
kind of weird. It's a one shot from Marvel,
Yep.
and it's called The Pit.
Oh, the Pit. Yeah.
So you heard about it then?
I've heard about it. I've never read it.
So it's a one shot, but it's basically it's come off from another series. Apparently, there's a character called Starbrand, and the pit appeared there in that comic book. Apparently, after I looked at that afterwards after I read it, but this is basically a one shot. You can read it. I read it. I didn't find it really bad, but it's like kind of like interesting, like the thicker format, like those. But
format or whatever,
like those prestige formats. But it's funny. I don't know if you can see, but the colorist is Jenna Jackson. So I was like, what? So I just had a giggle of that. Of course, probably somebody else called Jenna Jackson. I hope. Otherwise, that would be a bit weird. But anyway, really good creative teams. So John Byrne, writer with Mark Grunwald. Penciler is Sal Buscema. And the finisher is Stan Drake. And of course, colorist is Jenna Jackson, which is fucking hilarious. Anyway, it originally came out in 1987, this thing. And it starts with this like this page first to describe this character. And this character is basically like a entity or spirit, kind of like almost like a dead man, to be honest, in a way, because a guy died in accidents. And it basically starts to be aware of that he's dead, but he wasn't having anything else. Like he has like the conscious part of himself, but then he basically made himself having the trench coat and the things like a human, but nobody can hear him. Nobody can basically understand whether he actually is even in existence. But then this thing happened. So when he died, this white event happened in Pittsburgh, and the whole story is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in America. So he's been drawn ever since to this kind of events. So what I was talking about, the Starbrand. So this is the guy apparently who is the character Starbrand, a superhero. So because of him, because of this action here, it looks like almost he's posing for the those people who's like really fit and they get, like showing up their muscles. Anyway, so this action happens, and the whole Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, have a kaboom thing. Then 16 million people like basically dies because of this, whatever happens, and he gets to see this as basically a witness it, or he witnesses this stuff, and that's what happens to the Pittsburgh. And I really like the coloring, to be honest. I really like that era of coloring, and I like the way the pages it pops up, on the page. So anyway, it's basically what this action basically completely obliterates the whole region of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and basically it floods with water, because it even shows at the back you have a map. It shows what the area of damage, and then this is the equator level of the earth. That's how much he went basically in deep. So basically destroyed not only Pennsylvania, but it basically is gonna be like consequences after that. And you can see that as people are talking, Simon was the best of the lot.
Talking about it.
Shooter was gone from Marvel, that he took over the Shooter's book. I was looking
Pittsburgh. I love it.
Yeah, and then I wanted to make sure that I was looking at to see the Starbrand to see how much is it, because I'm curious now, about the character. So anyway, so we have this devastation. We have his family in the VW Bug, who is basically been like from the waves of the destructions, and then we have I use this panel as a page front up, because I really like it, because they're looking at green screen and the faces and the colors of the background just popped so much for me. So I thought that's great to basically put it in. Anyway, so of course Army gets involved, because of course they do, and they have this one dude. He's basically having time with his family, and the helicopter comes to pick him up, and he's basically in charge. So he's this cool dude, almost like like those movies from the 80s where they all like wearing this big oversized sunglasses, and he sits in the cockpit of like a fire jet, So that's how he's being represented in here. So anyway, they get flown into the situation, and the first they don't understand what's happening. And the funny part was, which I wasn't expecting, they employ this chick who is basically have almost like an armor suit.
Hmm.
And then she's the one who is basically puts herself in that suit and launches herself to actually find out, because she has the sophisticated um, uh, technology or machinery where she can basically take all the data for the army to understand really what really happened, because nobody still understands what happens. And the story goes on how things she starts to help and understand what's happening, the devastation. She takes the readings and stuff like that. Really, I mean, as a one shot, it's actually really well read, really well, and
Hmm.
it's like another thing we were talking about. I just took a chance. I didn't have
Yep.
a clue. I only
Yep.
think what the Burn and the Forest Buscema is the names I'm the most familiar with. So of course I want, and of course Grunwald, because if it's the era of writing. And
Right.
yeah, so I took a chance and I read it, and I and the way, and this character is still kind of like not really understanding exactly why he's there and what it is, because they don't really explain much, because he's still like kind of like it's almost like he's there, the characters, to be as a witness, but overall as a storytelling it was really well done, to be honest. And the background, it just showed the notes of that army soldier,
Okay.
because he's basically, it's like there was a helicopter, those news helicopters. We're going to find out, like for themselves, and because
Yep.
it's like army based, surrounding and taking away from, in like not be people were going in there, or nobody will find out, because it's a secret before they find out if there's any problem, who is in charge and stuff like that. Like those Russians, probably Russians did it, like America in that time and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, and he shoots them down, basically, the helicopter. So
Yep.
he's basically in charge of more devastation, and he's like, okay, I can't do this anymore, in a way. And then you just have a little bit of background noise of him telling whatever happened, and doesn't understand. But then, as I say, there is this star brand thing mentioned. So I looked online, and apparently it was before those series came out, and then they came out with this one. So not
Hmm.
bad, to be honest. For, as I say, it's funny. I was saying witness. I don't know why saying, but because his name was Witness.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So the main characters, and Spitfire, and that big red machine.
Uh-huh.
So
Cool.
anyway, so
For a
yeah.
pound, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I wouldn't probably, like even think about it, but I was like,
Right.
I don't know, it stood out for me just because of the names. And I really like, I'm a huge fan of this kind of art in the paper.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
always get drawn to it. I really like I don't know, newspaper print. This is a bit more thicker paper, of course, but because it's a little bit better prestige format. But I like the matte
Right.
paper, because the colors just pop so much better without the
Yeah.
glare. Like these day and age, we have lots of glare in the paper.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this one I just really like. So yeah, I took a chance
Sweet.
on it, and I read
Yeah.
it, and
Shit.
I was
Why
like,
not?
yeah, and I was thinking, like probably because you have your preconceptions before you actually even start reading. But
Hmm.
honestly, I was surprised how entertaining it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially after so much time has passed, I think, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
all of whatever was happening at that
yeah,
time with New
yeah,
Universe and stuff, it doesn't really mean too much anymore
yeah,
to a lot of people. So it's
yeah,
nice to kind of give it another shot.
yeah.
So
You have a
here you
body
go.
there. Let me put it to the big screen.
There they
Oh
are.
my goodness,
So
that's good.
yeah,
Oh
just make
wow,
like
dude.
a ring, so then they just stand, right? And
Yeah.
then they sort of just hover. And
Uh-huh.
then this guy, this is the
The what if one. Yeah.
that's the what if one. So, sort of pose him and put him on a bit of a shorter one, so it
Yeah.
can be kind of, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like I said, nerd shit. It's awesome
It
though.
looks great, man. To
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest, I think that by itself, that plain figure would be kind of odd. But the
Yeah.
way you are doing it, I think it's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't know if I would have, like, because I like it's Doctor Strange, but still, like, but this is the common batch Doctor Strange, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I
And you
have a
can
problem with that.
you can
Because
still
I do,
see his face, yeah.
yeah, I do. I like Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, don't get me wrong, in cinema
Yeah.
movies, but a comic book is just so much more dreamier.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Yeah.
is my feeling. But
Yeah,
anyway.
no, for sure. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's fun, And it just reminds me of that. We had seen, I think you and I had spoken, well, I'm sure it was you and me.
Yeah.
We'd talked about the dead man figure that was a similar kind of idea
Yeah.
where it was dead man, but then his kind of spirit was coming out. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I
have
mean?
it.
So I like
I
that.
do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I like that idea, right? So
Yeah.
this is similar to that
Yeah.
with his astral projection or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely great. I'll show
Mhm.
you another. I'm gonna show you another, figure. You know that smaller figures they came out with, the Marvel ones, the classic ones, the
Mhm.
Legends they call them, Marvel Legends. I got a Magneto one, which
Oh,
I
nice.
because I never had Magneto. Is always those one which is very popular, usually in the bigger format.
Yep,
And then if you want to buy them, I usually kind of go out
they're
quickly,
gone.
pick them out. But I saw this one. I was like, nah, I have to have it. I show it to you when
Right.
you start talking,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and I go
Um,
pick it up.
so the next one I got then,
Another
I
hardcover.
another hardcover, and I would say out of all the books I'm going to talk about today,
Uh-huh.
this one is
It's the
kind of
best.
top of the pile.
Yeah.
I loved this one so much. So I know that you got the Free Comic Book Day
Oh
issue as
yes, I saw
well too.
you raving about it on Twitter, isn't
It
it?
is it is so goddamn funny. It's very
I
rare that
bet.
I'll like laugh out loud at a book.
Yeah.
This one I laughed out loud a number of times. And
Uh-huh.
my family was like, "What the hell is so funny?" I'm like, I can't really tell you because some
Yeah.
of it is super. It's just dirty and rude, but it is so.
Oh,
If you like
shit.
that free issue,
Yeah.
you will love this whole book because
So
it's just more of the same.
so what is it called? It's
That
by the title?
It's called Fun Girl is the
Mm.
character's name, and it's put out by Silver Sprocket,
Oh yeah, yeah.
silversprocket.net. It was
Mm-hmm.
30 US. I think it wasn't too much more Canadian actually. But it's so entertaining. I love the art style. They do this. They kind of have these. Instead of like the gold leaf, they do like this orange kind of
Oh
edging
wow.
to the paper.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a ridiculously fun book, and it's really ridiculous. There's some stuff in here that's just absolutely absurd, but
Uh-huh.
it's so goddamn entertaining
Yeah.
because she's kind of clueless. She's
Uh-huh.
just this and just this shit that she finds herself in, you know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? It's just really goddamn
I
funny.
pissed
So
myself
she
on that Free Comic Book Day when
yeah.
like she stole the skateboard and she just lopped the head off right in the.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could not stop laughing. It's like, why I'm laughing? This is bad for her, but it's like I couldn't. It's the way she was drawn. Oh my god, that picture. Yeah, use that one on
She
Twitter.
gets a
Didn't you?
job. She gets a job at a mortuary. So like
Of course she does.
dealing with bodies and making up these bodies. And at
Yeah.
one point, she is left. She tells her
I think
boss,
I want to
her
get
boss
that
goes
now.
away, and she's put in charge of kind of dealing with the body of a cop, and
Uh-huh.
she ends up gluing a cucumber into his pants. And then the boss comes back and kind of freaks out,
Uh-huh.
and then there's the police chief comes in and is
Uh-huh.
playing with this thing, and kind of he's pissed off. But the reason he's pissed
Oh,
off is that
fuck.
this is not Sergeant Magnus's penis. Sergeant
Uh-huh.
Magnus's penis had a slight curve to it, a slight curve to the left, he says, as he kind of gazes at a stained glass window. So she comes in with this sword, and
Oh my
because it's just
god.
a cucumber,
Yeah.
opens up his pants and starts shaving off the cucumber penis to give it the curve that he wants. So it's stuff like that. Absolutely. There you go. If Raga's watching, there's your boner
Yeah.
moment of
Yeah.
comics there.
Yeah.
It's just chock full of ridiculously fun kind of short stories, and there's like a loose kind of theme through the whole thing. There is sort of a beginning, middle, and end, but it really is these almost vignettes of this fun girl just kind of doing a bunch of stupid shit. I love this book so much.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommended, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Silver Sprocket is the company there.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
should try
that's
to find it. I think you would love it.
Elizabeth Pitch is the one who is actually created that one. So I'm just
That's right.
looking at
Yeah.
just to make sure that people know.
It's a good reminder. I'm not good at
Yeah.
remembering. So PICH is the
Yeah.
last name.
Yeah. I definitely
And then inside, kind of the inside kind of bookends or whatever are basically her in the water, almost like these land masses. And then on the back side, inside back cover, same kind of thing. It's just her boobs poking out of the water. Hello, G.
Yeah. So G's here. Hello. Yeah.
So much fun. So ridiculously fun. I love it.
Yeah.
I'd read another hardcover. Like if she wants to continue with this for years to come, I'm on board, man.
Yeah, she's. I don't know what. I hope is she based on herself, but it just looks like she knows that person really well who she's drawing to, because it's just so hilarious. And the scenes, especially.
Thank you, Jared. End papers. Yeah, not bookends. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just it's really funny. That if nobody wants to commit to that hardcover, I highly recommend to get that free comic book day. Anyway, you probably can find online or wherever somebody would have it, because it's such a sleep up of the book, because you don't because the way it's drawn and everything, but it's hilarious. I don't know what the hell she does, how she manages to like just pick up right moments, and the panels are like, it's just like the right moment. She's like plops her head. It's like just like a stone. I just could not stop laughing. It's just, and the awkwardness, with the neighbors and stuff like that she had on that free comic book day. It's just hilarious.
Well, and you're totally right. Like it really is, because when I picked it up because I liked the art. I thought the art looked really great, and then when I read it, I was just surprised by like, wow, I had no idea that this was going to be what the story was. And I think it's the beauty of the character design itself. Like there's no mouths on any of the characters. They're still very expressive though.
Exactly.
Because it all happens kind of around the eyes. So you still get these very expressive moments that are just an absolute blast. Like really so goddamn funny.
I already looked somewhere sold out already. Fuck. So probably she hasn't printed that much, but I'll have a look online for sure.
I'm assuming it was this year.
Yeah, November. It came out November.
It was just this year as well too, right? Yeah, that's right. Fall 2021,
Yeah. So I looked already while you were talking. Of course, I had to have a look. Jesus is hilarious. Honestly, I have to probably somehow like put money aside for that thing, because it's honestly, it's just so funny, that character. She's just as I say, I don't know who she's come up with, but anyway, I'm gonna get that thing.
She must know this person in real life.
She's that person.
She's that person. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. There's this idea that she has with it that, everybody knows kind of this character in their lives who just kind of floats through the world and stuff. Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to put
those.
Yeah, so I got the Magneto finally. I don't know. I just like they have a lot of them, but some of them look kind of awkward, But this one looks like Daredevil, and this one looks the best out of them all, I think.
It's great art on that card too. There. Hey?
Yeah, the cards are really, really nice. It's difficult to think because I think Damon was asking, "Are you going to open it?"
No
and
way.
I was thinking, it's just too beautiful to look at, to be honest. So I was just like, okay, I'm probably going to keep it the way it is. Actually, my son absolutely wants to open this up. I was like, no.
Of course he does, yeah.
No, that's mine.
No way, kid. Don't you know these toys aren't for playing with?
Because I actually have to start looking for like used action figures. Absolutely. He loves every single one of them I have. And I don't want him to have them.
Right.
So bad, such a bad parent. It's like, it's my toys. You can't play with my toys.
Yeah.
But as I say, it's just something. They had actually sale in some, but they, of course, when you have sale, all the good characters are gone, and the ones who doesn't sell, it's plenty of them. So, but yeah, it's like quite cheap, to be honest, if you find them for like cheap things. But anyway, have you read this?
Oh, I sure have. I don't have it out, but yeah, I read it. Yeah, issue 3.
So I want to talk, I'm going to just show you. That's what I read. And of course, I enjoyed the heck out of it.
So did I, yeah.
So before, I'm going to put a big screen because I'm going to show a couple of things. But this guy, Andrea Lima Araujo, whatever his surname is, he is a star of this show. This book is, without him, I think Rick Remender would have a problem. Or it seems to be that he picked up the really good moment. And it starts really weird. French Polynesia. I was like, what the hell? Because
Mhm.
it's like, like you would think they would come back to the way we left off in issue 2, which they're gonna come up in this issue, of course. But the way they started this one is that what is this, sex like island?
Yeah, yeah.
It seems to be, or it's like at first, no, from the like I looked from the back, it looked like a ship. I was like, oh no, but then I looked up, it's an actual island.
What's
Anyway,
the
so
what's the guy that was Trump's advisor there at the beginning from Breitbart? That's who this
yeah.
motherfucker looks like in there. I'm blanking on his name, but that's
I
who
didn't.
this weirdo looks like.
Yeah, so I really didn't know even. So it looks kind of weird. And of course, this comic book doesn't have that much words going on for it. It's all about, as I say, the artist, and the fuck, like I say, is really okay. Sorry, mind the comics. We try to pronounce this name better next time. But anyway, so and you have those scenes, and I'm really glad that this guy wasn't as bad as I was thinking he's gonna be.
Right.
Because I thought he actually, like the way the first comic, like the first issue, he was like you really didn't have a sense of him, who he actually is. The second one, you started giving ideas that he might be, and then in this one, you kind of like give you a better sense of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming to take this woman, and I don't know what's the significance with her, but that guy in the first couple of pages I showed you, he wants her. And we don't, of course, know anything yet. It's the same way of each issue so far. Like you don't get any backgrounds from the characters.
Yeah.
You're just seeing, and we finding out issue by issue what's happening in them. And they open up like a leaf a little bit more. And this this main character basically is kind of opens up a little bit more for us. So it's a good way to introduce the new characters. And it seems to be she's going to be involved in another one.
The pacing is really good, yeah.
And the scenes are great. It's honestly like I don't know. It's just really well picked panels, and scenes the way what he wants to tell. And those, it's extremely quick read. You think like comic books are quick read, but this one is like it's almost, you have to take your time, because honestly you have to take the significance and the art and how he's telling the story, and especially this scene. Because he gets whacked in his neck with a key, which is bloody hell. That's like anything in your hand, if you know how to use it, is a tool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm definitely not going. This is the middle of the comic book, but I'm not going to scroll further because there's more information. Don't want it to spoil it. It's really nice to basically.
Can we just briefly touch on one little tiny bit of a spoiler? The only part of the book that didn't work for me, that I thought was a little bit lazy writing, where we have to go back for my kid. Really?
Oh yeah.
There was a fucking kid asleep while you guys were beating the shit out of each other in the kitchen, and someone was getting stabbed in the neck with a fucking key, and he's sleeping through the whole thing. Come on. I thought that was a little bit lazy. Other than that, though, I really love the issue. I love the book so far.
You can think of maybe. I mean, you can always suspect what the kid is all about. Maybe that's why he wants her, for a reason of the kid. You never know. But this guy, who he doesn't. Do you know his name? I don't remember. It's mentioned.
I'm sure that they've said it. I just don't remember. Yeah.
Anyway, so but it's really it's very suspenseful comic book. Lots of happenings going on in here. It's quite quick paced as well, which is good, I guess. But it keeps the momentum and gives you guessing, like all the time, and I like that. I know that.
Well, and I think it's a good example of what you can do when you do a monthly book, right? Like there's so many books that are just like, you can read that in trade. This one, part of the enjoyment is having that kind of month off where you can think about things and revisit it if you want to, and then when you get the next issue, you get another little segment. I feel like he's worked it pretty well. As a kid, I would have substituted. Jesus, sorry, Jared. That's the rough upbringing.
Well, I'm not sure if I would be awake, to be honest. It's like I can't hear. If I sleep usually most of the time.
Right.
But anyway, never know. But it's very kind of like very serialized kind of TV show. Kind of each month you get this one comic book, and it's really good. As I say, it's always. What I like about this one, especially, is that you never know what's going to happen next. You see the cover, okay, what's going to happen? woman, really. And then, you know, like, who is she? They don't really explain who is she anyway. She doesn't. We don't get explanation in this comic book who is she anyway. So
Yep.
in that sense, it gives you a momentum of looking at to see what's going to happen next.
She may turn out to be an absolute scumbag who, for all we know, right?
Like what we were
because,
thinking
our
about.
main character, we thought that maybe he was a serial killer at first or something to do with that world. Turns out that potentially maybe he's not. So it feels like it's one of the books that just keeps you guessing, which is a nice place to be in.
Yeah, and also, you know, that he's using this USB thing stick where he's like goes to that dark web to just find out what it is, and then the way he's talking to him, like through the phone, and he just chucks it away.
That was pretty great. I like
so that was a nice moment as well. So I really liked it. So really, one of the nice books to have on my pull list for sure. I was like never disappointed, and I'm glad that you guys basically were talking about it, and I didn't pick it up, and I was like, "Fuck, why didn't I?" Because it's a recommender. I usually tend to go on this book first, but then thankfully I found it. So
well, and that's the thing. It's the exact same thing for me. I would have missed it. You know what I mean? If I didn't hear people talking about it, I would have absolutely missed it. So it did take me a bit to find that first issue, but thankfully I got them, and you know, now it's on my pull list, and now I won't miss it.
Are you going to talk about Human Target?
You
have you read it?
Oh,
because I know you bought it.
I did.
I was wondering to see what your opinion was, because you know.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have them out. I must have put them away already. I love that book. I think those first 2 issues are fantastic. I love the art. I love the look of it. It's a lot of fun. I'm very curious where it's going to go. I know that it's going to. It was issue number 3. Yeah. I hope it's kind of in that superhero world, which is the only thing that gives me mild reservations. But again, mild reservations, because overall so far I'm really digging it. But again, it's one of those books that I'm in it for. The art is gorgeous, and I'm curious about the character, because Human Target had a bunch of miniseries before, even one that was written by Peter Milligan, I think, too. So because I did a little bit of looking into other stuff where he appeared, because I'd like to try out some of that other stuff just to see where the character came from and how he was treated then, right, compared to now.
So what's your feeling about Tom King? Because I never pans out for me. I never
So far, I like it. You know what I mean? Like, so far, I like it. It's tough. It's a tough thing to say right now, because it's only 2 issues in.
Yeah.
But so far, it's interesting enough. Like, I don't have a strong opinion on his writing either way, to be honest. It's just good. But again, like, I'm so absorbed into the art. I'm so absorbed into how he's using lighting and how he's using colors and all of that. Like, I'm really into that. I think it's a beautiful book to look at. The story is serviceable. I don't have any strong opinion either side of it yet. So we'll see how it goes, though.
The Greg Smallwood, yes, is the artist.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So he's the ones you showed, I think, with him, and then of course he did the Moon Knight with Jeff Lemire. So it was. I don't think it was as good as now. I think it just blossomed. I think now. I think just
if you
freedom.
check on his Twitter, he talks about it. He talks about the evolution. He did a thread where he talks about the evolution of his art, and I found it really a neat read. Just kind of where his mind was when he was kind of starting out versus where he is now, and things that he's trying now, like specifically with the story in that Marvel anthology, and then also with this one here with this Human Target. It's kind of like this new phase of his art style. Is what it read to me anyway, because I'm not super familiar with all of his work. I know a little bit of it, but I mean, wherever he's going, I'm with it. You know what I mean? I'll kind of see what else he has in store, because I love it. I think it's great.
Is he coloring himself, or he has a colorist?
I believe it's him. Actually, I don't know, and it's just not even close. I thought I might have it on another shelf, but I don't.
No.
So off the top of my head, I don't remember. I want to say that it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Those colors are splendid.
Yeah,
the Damien was showing, and he was like, "Woof, look great."
Yeah.
Okay, I'm interested to see how it ends, because I'm not a fan of end of Tom King stuff. I always have convoluted ideas afterwards when I read something. It's like, I'm not sure of what I've read most of the times. The only thing what made sense from him is the vision. It's the only thing which I really like from the beginning to the end completely. but then more other ones, and I don't know how Rorschach, he written Rorschach, and the people are saying is good, but I'm not sure if I'm keen to go in there, because
Right.
Rorschach is another thing which we goes. And I was reading the Mr. Miracle one he did,
Mhm.
and I finished that one, but the end was a little like, what the hell was that kind of
Right,
thing?
right,
You know,
right.
I think Damon was kind of similar in that sense, but
Mhm.
yeah, with him it's like, I don't know. So far, whatever he's done for DC is like hit and miss. It seems to be, and the messages are kind of similar what people say on YouTube as well. So I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm just that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
I'm curious. You want to see what you think, because like
yeah.
whatever snippets you get from other people, because I really like, I do enjoy the art to look at, of course, for sure. But
I always worry with stuff like this that the story is going to be too much into the superhero stuff, and I just don't know the
uh-huh,
history. Like I just full on don't know maybe
uh-huh,
some stuff that he's referencing. So
yeah,
I'm worried that that's the only reservation that I have going into this one, that it feels like every issue is going to be focused on a different kind of superhero, right?
yeah,
Who's a witness, or who's sorry, a potential suspect in this
yeah.
case, in who is trying to kill him, or who was
Okay.
actually trying to kill Lex Luthor is basically the premise, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
I worry a little bit that it's going to get into some territory that I'm just going to have, it's going to go over my head. So
Mm-hmm.
that's probably why I feel so kind of blah about the story, because I'm sort of expecting it to touch on stuff that just won't have an impact on me, because I just don't know that world, right? So
So
yeah.
because I've not read it, so is it like based on Lex Luthor as a main character, or is the main
Lex
villain?
Luthor is who hires the Human Target to
Ah,
help him
okay,
out. Someone tries
okay.
to poison Lex Luthor.
Ah,
It
okay.
actually gets the Human Target, or was Lex Luthor the actual target? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's all of this kind of thing. Like, is Lex using him? All this kind of stuff, right? So there's all of these kind of subtext things happening, and then he's broken it down to a handful of superheroes that potentially would want to see Lex Luthor dead, you know, that
Yeah,
just have had enough of dealing with him and just actually just want to kill him,
yeah.
and kind of miss the target and this sort of thing. So yeah, and I mean that's the stuff that I think will just kind of go past me, unless
Mm-hmm.
he keeps it very much about this and kind of keeps it a contained story, and
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily relies too much on the history of the characters, which I can't see how you couldn't. You know what I mean? I don't feel like you're going to be able to tell a story without kind of referencing some of that other stuff. So we'll see how he handles it.
Now I'm more interested in about other stuff before
Mhm.
this, because I didn't even know that was in existence before that. So
Yeah.
let's make
Yeah, he had a couple
it's,
of mini series. Yeah,
yeah. If it's Milligan even touch it, that would be, it was piquing my interest already because of the name of
same with
Milligan.
me.
Yeah,
And especially a Vertigo. I think there was 2 Vertigo
yeah,
mini series possibly,
yeah.
that I would love to check out just to see. I can't remember if they were. I don't believe they were both written by Milligan, but I don't know. I made some notes. I did some kind of looking into it and put some stuff on a running list on my phone to look for,
Okay,
because I
there's
think he
four
also had
issue.
his first
Yeah,
appearances were in like Action Comics or something like that, in kind of the
I,
400s, I think, where there was a backup story featuring Human Target.
that's
Oh yeah,
the
there you go.
mini series by Peter Milligan. It says Human Target, Vertigo. Edwin Bukovic is artist, which I've not heard of.
Yeah,
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 so
true enough, Jared. 100%. I hear you on that one.
mhm. I really like I like Lex Luthor as a character. I think
Mm-hmm.
is kind of can be tapped into and put into places cleverly. I think it's the same kind of like almost similar like to Marvel's oh my god, what's the name? Oh, I don't know. Oh my god, what's the villain of Fantastic Four? The
Doctor
Doom.
Doom.
Doctor Doom. So it's kind of like similarly in that kind of
Right.
vein. Doctor Doom can be written into characters as well, but like Luthor would be kind of like as a human intelligence and all that stuff. Like it would
Right.
be interesting to take in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, me and names when I want to actually say something, it's just like poof blanks, like
Yeah.
poof, it disappears
It
out of my brain.
happens in these chats all the time. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. This makes me
So
angry.
one of the books I got from Book Depository that I've had on there for a little while
Uh-huh.
is
Oh
the
yes.
Peanuts Dell Archive, a smaller
Mm-hmm.
hardcover.
Yeah.
Um, so this collects all of the stuff
Comic
from
books.
Fritzy Ritz, Tip Top,
Mhm.
the book Nancy, and then
Uh-huh.
when it went into its own series. So there's a nice little bit of history to kind of open it up. Very, very brief, doesn't go into great detail, just
Mhm.
roughly talks about how Peanuts came to comics and how Schultz wasn't involved. He did a
Yeah.
couple of covers and that was it. But
Yeah.
the main writer, so the very first story Schultz wrote and drew. But then after that, he kind of gave the reins over, and it does a really good job also of crediting things at the bottom of every single strip, what issue it
Mhm.
came from, what the
Oh
year
wow.
was, and if they knew the creator. Um, this Jim Sasserville kind of took over the reins. I think he was an assistant at one point of Schultz's or a friend of Schultz's, and
Mhm.
Schultz kind of gave him the okay to kind of be the guy. He mimicked his style
Interesting.
pretty well, and more importantly, the tone of the stories are pretty damn close to stuff that Schultz
Mhm.
would have written.
Mhm.
The where it gets a little dicey is when you get to kind of the end, and there's
Mhm.
this guy named Dale Hale, and then there's a couple of other creators that just go unnamed who
Mhm.
start writing the Peanuts characters and absolutely don't get the tone at all. Even
Oh.
Snoopy thinking to himself a lot and calling these kids stupid kids, and all of
Mhm.
this, just this kind of tone that really is just not Peanuts, right? Um, so I'd say the last kind of, I don't know, quarter of the book, I really started to skim through. Like
Oh
there's even
really?
strip where there's a robot in it and stuff, just
Mhm.
stuff that's not the Peanuts world in my mind anyway.
Mhm.
So it really kind of stands out as stuff that's just not it's not that as entertaining. But surprisingly, most of this is really good. And again, there was a couple of really solid stories in here. They're all kind of short stories,
Mhm.
4, 6, 8 pages. There's a couple of single page ones that are in black and white that appeared on the inside front cover of some of these issues. So you get these kind of very
Yeah.
basic Peanuts gag strips. It's a
Mhm.
really nice collection though, and one of the things, because I'll end up talking about it again later, is whoops, is breaking my table. Holy smoke! Sorry, stand by.
Okay, what happened?
That
Did
was
you bro-
close. At least I caught the microphone.
Oh, you were. Oh,
Oh
you were.
shucks. Well, there goes the leg of that table. So
What?
the one thing that I love about this
Mhm.
is that they recreated. They didn't put it on crisp white paper. They put it on this yellowed paper,
Mhm.
which I think really adds to the whole thing. Yeah, this is a disaster here.
Are you okay?
Let me do this. One sec. The
What's
legs
this?
just busted off my table. Damn it. My
How?
crack table. What am I gonna do?
Is that the table you ordered from the people?
It's the one. Oh, come on. Sorry.
Well, did you put too much
Stand
weight
by
and
here.
do you put all your gold on top of it, eh?
Oh god, it's totally destroyed. Oh well.
Oh, that
Um
one. Ah, I thought the one you ordered. No, that's the
oh
one you
shit.
have with the
That I did
decoupage.
the crack tabletop on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you still hear me okay?
yeah.
Okay, good. Um so I like the yellowed paper. I like this kind of,
Hmm.
there's even a couple of strips. There's even a couple of stories where along one of the edges is even a little darker. So it almost feels like they just scanned the original pages
Yeah.
from the books that they had in their collection and reproduced it in here. Probably won't be able to find it, but yeah, stuff like this. Where was that? Yeah, right here. You can see along the edge that it's a little darker than normal. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like they just took the original comics and scanned them or photographed them and put them in the book. I like
Hmm.
that kind of thing. It makes it feel like I'm reading the actual comic itself. So, and I mean, these aren't as easy to find. Even when they did the Gold Key ones, the reprints of the Dell stuff, they're not
Hmm.
as easy to find and they're usually a bit pricey. So this one is from Kaboom,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. This is a really good one. There's been a few years in a row now that I've gotten some crack. There goes the table. There's a few years in a row where I've gotten something Peanuts related, and I always love it. It's always a solid
Cool.
gift. Yeah. So this one, it was. I think Damien said he had the same one too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He did.
And again, with the binding, really nice. So everything opens up nice and flat, and everything is really in there. no pages separating, so it's a good one.
Cool. Yes, I think we were talking last time about those peanuts before when Damon obliged and sending me some of them and stuff. I was like
Right.
hearing about that Schultz wasn't involved in comic book thing at all, or wasn't
Yep.
interested in, which is kind of weird because it's his creation and somebody's using it. So
He was just so, he had so much on his plate already doing the daily strip and the
mhm,
Sundays and stuff that they wanted to cash in, and he just kind of gave him the reins. And I think especially early on, it would definitely, I don't see him as a guy that would just let them pick anybody. So I think because he kind of had that hand in it right off the top,
mhm.
it feels like it started to get away from him where he didn't have much of a choice. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's good reading. It's, you still get that tone, especially with that first creator. He does a really good job of keeping those character designs and that kind of story tone still
yeah,
Peanuts. Yeah.
yeah. Every single time now I see, especially this time of year, the song is
Yeah.
in my head, is
Yep.
singing all the time. I just can't stop thinking about it.
It's the
Um,
greatest. I love it.
yeah, I went to library again to look for
Oh, nice.
something. Unfortunately, there was slim pickings, to be honest. And I started reading a couple of them. I'm showing you the first one. I haven't even finished it. I just read a couple of issues of the first volume. But I guess, oh wow,
The leg is right off.
Jesus,
Yeah. It's a
a
good thing I caught the
snap!
microphone.
Yeah, that's a snap. How is that
Yeah.
happening? It was,
Just beat the hell out of it.
yeah. So I got this Martian Manhunter story because I kind of like, as I say, DC lore is always very interesting. So the creators is Rob Williams, Eddie Burrows, Iba Ferreira, and Gabe L. Teeb. I don't know how to pronounce anyway. I'm
Is that
gonna
New 52 stuff, I guess?
Yeah, well, it says DC. It's like after maybe, or maybe
Oh, okay.
around this, but it's basically retelling. It's retelling a little bit of a lore of Martian Manhunter, um, and it's apparently Divergence was part of the scenes. I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
so I start reading this, and it's actually the first storyline is called Epiphany. And so far, we've basically our Martian Manhunter gets asked by scientists to go and help astronauts who's going into Mars. Because he's a Martian Manhunter, they thought that like it's going to be easier for you to go as quickly because it's an emergency. And he went to help him, but of course, there's always a kicker because he supposedly is the only one left of his race, and this comic book will be telling us that is not true, and that his race is coming after Earth, and it goes into dark beings like these. And Martian is like, can't believe it, but because it's kind of he's been manipulated into going to Earth and finding out all the backgrounds about it, so they can come and invade. So this is the beginning of the story so far, and I only have managed to read a couple of stories, as I say, first a couple of issues. And if we have this weird character called Mr. Biscuits, and this looks like an alien guy, it looks like almost like a frog type of thing, and then there's these kids who basically, like you have those kids coming in like curiously about everything, goes into this dingy street and this building where this giant of the alien sits down, and they call him Mr. Biscuits. So it was kind of a intriguing, entertaining story so far. But yeah, so whatever I've read hasn't gone far enough. I didn't have not enough time, nor it seems to be attention for everything to go through. But so far as I'm intrigued. And the way he saves this plane, the Martian, I wasn't sure that he can actually turn into like this kind of creature. I know he shapeshifts, but Jesus Christ, he went into berserker mode. So far, the curiosity is definitely peaked. I'm not sure how far it will go with, but so far it's typically kind of like it even says adult, like they not want people like kids to read this because it's kind of like probably goes into, but there's 2 volumes I managed to find, so I'm gonna go through. going to give you hopefully next time we speak, I'll give you the whole thing shebang
Nice. And there's
about.
just 2 volumes, or how long did it go?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I found those two like 1 and 2 was like, okay, I have to pick it up because like straight away you can read it. So I will see. But Martian Manhunter has always been something I'm curious about all the time. So the character itself and background of his, like, he's the only one. He's afraid of fire. Why
Right.
would you be afraid of fire and stuff like that? And there's lots of
Right.
lore of Martian Manhunter, and also in one of the another animated Teen Titans, there's a girl who's a female Martian Manhunter of his basically of his species.
Mhm.
So in there as well. So it's interesting what they're gonna do if it that thing what they claim so far in a couple of issues saying that they're actually gonna come to Earth to destroy it. So
Right.
Mr. Chaos and Comics are
Yeah.
appearing in
Hello.
here. I'm in Las Vegas.
I'm the Las Vegas
I'm Las
Manhunter.
Vegas Manhunter. How he's like, yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, he was really
So
good in New Frontier. Werewolf is saying Werewolf by Lunchtime.
that's
Should be more popular. It just needs that creator, right, to bring him to the forefront.
The right moment, writer and right artist in the right moment, kind of thing. The thing is, I think what also all of the big two companies need is to give the artists and the writers a little bit more freedom than they usually tend to do. They are all hiccupy about, you can't say that on the side, especially before. Now I think it's more freedom, to be honest, to write, because they're not really into that continuation of telling stories. Like everybody has to go into the right moment and right mind. So
yeah.
But yeah, as I say, it always piques my interest when I see something like that, and it's of course easy to go in library, find something like that to read and pick it
Just
up,
give it
and
a
then you
shot.
don't have especially like, as I say, always support your libraries, which I try to do all the time. I always go, and I was like, I tend to get really disappointed most of the time because there's not much in where I am. Unfortunately, not many comic readers around or fans of that kind of genre, I guess. But whatever, I always find it entertaining so far to just try and see. Like you never know if I like it or not. But so far, I'm intrigued because the way it's like, the story goes, that Mr. Biscuits is kind of hilarious and spooky in the same time. Like looks like crazy. Why would, as a like a kid, they are fearless. Like kids like at age like where they can talk to anybody and kind of feel like nothing there, because that's how you are when you're growing up. You're not afraid of anything.
Right.
The minute you start aging, you start to be afraid like a chicken shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh no, I'm not talking to you. You're a bastard, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, we have way too much of filters saying not to do anything most of the time. So
yeah.
You have anything else?
So one of the other ones, I'm not finished it yet, but
oh wow.
this was the other Christmas present.
Jesus.
Creepy Archives, Alex Toth.
Wow, that's difficult to find.
They're super difficult to find, even on, because again, this was Book Depository. Even on Book Depository, they only have a couple of these volumes.
Dude, they have to support you, man. You've just been telling about them all the time. Maybe we should just write an email.
They owe me some money. I think they should give me more of a discount. This one is a lot of fun to read. These kind of creepy stories, these kind of short 8-pagers and stuff are an absolute blast. And I'm not as versed in Alex Toth stuff. So this was a really great way to see kind of his art at a different scale and back to back. So you can really see him playing with these different styles. Like this, you get a story like this where there's lots of heavy blacks on the page. And really great kind of textures and things. And then you jump to stuff that looks more like, where's that good example? There was the really clean line style here as well too. So then you get, flip a couple of stories later and you get a style like this, right? That's very kind of crisp. And some of this stuff I love because it just feels like he's taken just a chunky marker just to make some marks to delineate the folds on the fabrics and things.
I don't
Really
know.
inventive page layouts, but such a nice kind of mix of styles. And then even doing stuff like some of the title pages are really great as well too. Like this here, this one, this story called Ensnared. I love that kind of title page leading you into the story. And again, the heavy black borders on this one, and maybe the little more not as cartoony kind of faces. And then another one that really stood out to me, it was one on the side. Yeah, here we go. Using a lot of gray tones and things to give this, the idea here was to give this old photograph effect to his pages.
Yeah.
So he laid out stuff like this. It's a pretty good story too, but again, just that ability to see him play with these different styles back to back, even using some photo reference or photos in there and stuff, touched up photos. Really, really fantastic. I wish I knew more about him and more about kind of what he was going for with some of these stories and what kind of techniques specifically. But there's a lot of really good stuff in here. So this is an absolute blast. The only complaint is I have two of these creepy issues. I have this issue here, and I think it's issue 114 and 122. So when I did the side by side, the reproduction is beautiful. It's just my old kind of thing of this is on such crisp white paper. When I was reading the book on its own, I was loving it, still love it. Once I sat with that old newspaper and the magazine to see the same stories, the coloring of that paper and the age of the paper really adds a dimension for me, right? This is gorgeous to look through with this really crisp white paper. But there's something about that aged yellowed paper that really adds to the overall effect for me. This is another really good story too, actually. And honestly, I think both of these that I've just shown were also written. Oh no, they weren't, because he writes a couple of stories in here as well too.
I see.
Doesn't just do the art. They're solid little stories. They all have kind of like their little twist endings and things like that. But I really like these stories. It makes me want to kind of keep my eyes out for some more creepy magazines when I'm out there, just to give them a try. So yeah, this was, like I said, I'm almost done it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, but like, look at that. That's a great face. That's a great figure there.
For sure.
Really great. So yeah, that's Toth. So there you go.
Wow.
And these, I think this is a great format too, these hardcover collections. But like you said, they're so tough to find. They sell out right away. And then when they're gone, they're gone, because then the prices just skyrocket and they become completely out of reach. Like I think I saw, I think it was a Corbin one that was well over $100 Canadian, you know, for a book that when it came out was $25 Canadian, you know what I mean?
Jesus.
So they really just skyrocket. Yeah,
because every single time something like creepy or those like in the hardcovers, they always you know, if you don't buy them and not commit to them straight away when they release them, that's it. Kind of like the boat sailed, and you can just like wave goodbye to it.
Yeah,
because it's really difficult. And then resale value, because nobody wants to sell it, that kind of stuff, because it's kind of difficult to even in generally get hold of the original matter. But you mentioned about the comparison. I think it's really bad for us, like when we start to compare because of that, like paper. I think that's the beauty of the comic book in general. It is, because yes, it's nice to have those collected editions in your shelf, because it's kind of looks great also, especially if you got a hardcover and stuff like that. But the new paper doesn't do the justice to what age it was before, because at the end of the day, it's kind of almost kind of time travel. The thing happens when you have your comic book with you, because it's from certain time and era of it. So it's I just really like the originality, and I do agree about art and enhancing the art because of the age. Because everything when it's new is just so crisp and perfect kind of thing. But then in these ages, it just gives you a different, maybe even the shadow brings up more. The blacks doesn't become as black as they were originally, because they do fade throughout the time. It just gives you that nice feeling of it, especially when it's scary, those creepy stories,
Well, and like I
So
said, the biggest draw for this one is to see one artist, and it's
yeah,
weird, or not weird. It's really cool to see an artist who you're not seeing necessarily a progression where he's starting off not very good and getting better throughout the book. You're seeing the progression of an artist who's really damn good already, but just
yeah,
kind of playing with stuff. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
being a little more playful and trying stuff out and trying stuff that, to my eyes, look like he did it a little quicker on purpose, just kind
yeah.
of really committed to some lines, to versus some stuff where I really want to play with an idea and I'm really going to take some time on this story. I really want to see what kind of textures I can get. That's so much fun to see back to back. And again, it's every single story. The art is fantastic. Like there's not one so far that I've read and went that looked like shit. There was one story at the beginning where there was a couple of panels that were really dark, but I think that that's just the way that it was in the printing of the original book. That wasn't necessarily something that he did. It's just that's the limitations of the printing, but it's so cool to see not only a progression, but just someone that just is having fun. It looks like he's having fun drawing these stories
Yeah.
and just fucking around. So the sun is coming up. Holy smokes, werewolf.
The son is like, oh, bye-bye.
Bring on the heat. Yeah.
Well, you're like what, lunchtime now, or like middle of the
It's
day?
3:10. Yeah. Only 10 after 3 here now.
Yeah, I'm gonna like mine is like 9:15.
Yeah.
It's like evening.
Yeah.
Oh, the dark and hard. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's like your collection is expanding quite a lot, with all this like hardcovers and stuff like that.
I'm really in a graphic novel and hardcover kind of mode, right? Because it just I'm loving it, And again, it's all people like Earl Grey's faults and Paulo Costa, and it's I don't take any of the blame and responsibility. Basically, it's everybody else's fault. But it's fun. There's just so much good stuff out there. Like I finished reading the first volume of Harrow County, and I love it.
Shut
So
up.
there's so much good stuff out there.
That Harrow County is gonna have a sour taste to me all the time because I can't find that out of print fucking hardcovers.
Oh,
Bastards.
okay.
Because I have the first volume in hardcover.
I just went for the soft cover because they only had the first volume in hardcover at the bookstore, but they had I think they had the first 3 books. Damien, the first 3 books in soft cover, so I figured I'd give the soft cover a shot.
And here, P.S.
Yes.
In the chat.
Oh, that's all a lot of money. It's true.
Yeah. You're gonna be like Earl Grey, you're gonna just poke your hand out and there you go, have a book now? Is that what's gonna happen?
Well,
yeah,
but the thing is, I was saying to Gore Vidal in an email, we were chatting, I'm running out of room. Like it's at a point now where I need a new shelf, but I don't want to get a new shelf. So now it's looking at stuff and like what stuff can I get rid of? Because I need to keep things contained. Like I need to, just for my own well-being, never mind anybody else's in the house, just for my own kind of peace of mind. So now it's looking at stuff again and what stuff can I trade? What stuff can I get rid of to make some space? Because I don't want to have kind of shelving and stuff all over the house. I just don't want that to be the way that it goes. So it's time to look at the collection again and start trading some stuff away.
Yeah.
As hard as that's going to be, because I feel like I'm at a point where everything that I currently have, I do want it. I look at the shelves and there's really nothing that I can see myself getting rid of, because it's all just stuff that I really enjoy and want to go back to and have gone back to, so yeah.
You see, I was like always like, oh yeah, comic books take so much space, blah blah blah. But then you have to start buying your hardcovers, and you're like, what the hell am I gonna do with those thick stuff? Yeah. Especially if you have like a omnibuses who people collect. I have a couple of them, and it's like bloody hell, where I'm gonna put them, and it's like a chore to put them in. Yeah, like Damien says, you need the whole house walls to be shelves. Yeah. I really do like those, there's a shelving inside the wall, like especially made. just that's beauty of it. So then you just like, okay, you can squeeze it as much as, but then you're not gonna run out, because the amount of your books you showed me now, you just bought for Christmas. Imagine what's gonna happen next year. Where are you gonna put those?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I
yeah.
took some of the stuff off here because I had those Tintin French magazines and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because I have a magazine box that was mostly empty. So I
Mm-hmm.
transitioned a lot of that stuff into a magazine box so then I can have some room for hardcovers and things, So yeah,
Oh, look,
custom shelves is the way that I've been thinking as well too, especially for our main floor. We've got
mm-hmm.
kind of the cube, like the usual kind of IKEA cube
Yeah,
kind of shelving,
Kallax.
getting rid
Yeah.
of that and doing like a custom bookshelf on that whole wall so we can really use the space from floor to ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's a bit of a gig.
Maybe it's time to pick up some carpentry skills, eh?
It is. Just got to fake my way through it. Yeah, 100%.
I would do it. Honestly,
Yeah,
I like working with anything like that. It's just,
yeah,
if you can create something, but of course it's not going to be as, wood is not as easy as it seems what people show to be at all.
right.
The minute you're out of square, whatever they call that, and you bloody ruined everything.
Yep.
The one measure wrong, and your whole shelving is actually crazy.
Well, and I don't know what it's like everywhere else in the world, but here in Canada and specifically in Manitoba, the price of wood has skyrocketed because of everybody doing projects over COVID, right? So the cost of just the materials has just really blown up. So it's not necessarily the most affordable thing right now.
And also because now people need wood, so we decide to buy actual woodland. So people, instead of doing like buying wood, they actually become lumberjacks, almost, the kind of things.
Right.
So you buy woodland, and then you have to take care of the woodland, and just because you want a piece of wood. So it's kind of funny. It's actually quite a big boom, apparently. Doing your own, but then you have to learn what's green wood, what is not. It's funny how how that goes. Anyway, what people do when we have
let
too
it
much
dry
time
out properly, mill it properly, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have everything. Then you have to want to have land. Now, for example, looking for land like that is crazy price as well. So people are catching on that stuff as well. So everybody's catching on everything. Anyway, you can't do the hobbies anymore. It's too many people wants to do hobbies. It's like,
exactly,
I said to my
everybody's got all this time.
I was like, we were doing the same Christmas presents with my husband. I was like, so he's like, oh, so comic books you want? It's like, no, leather work. It's like, oh, okay, so you got me just one tool. It's like, perfect. I don't have to shelve it too much. It's just a tool. It's like not much space I need to take. Because comic book is becoming way too much space taken away from where we are. So it's just like I'm taking I buy now, as little as I can. Like, really do. Even like before used to be, I need everything on for Christmas for like comic related. Now not so much. It's like less is better for me. So I like seeing you guys books, but it's like thinking afterwards, like, where I'm gonna put this shit.
Yeah.
and then my kid just wants to destroy them all. It's just like it's a difficult chore to do that. Yeah. Anyway, so I have another one to show from the library. It's kind of off the cuff. When I saw this one, I thought about Dr. Monkeybot. I don't know why. I think he mentioned them maybe several times, but I'm talking about Exiles.
Okay.
Completely off the cuff. It's an X-Men title related. It's not very wanted. X-Men came into one book, kind of thing. And it's I heard about them before, of course. So this one's a group of X-Men from different era of time. So it's a bit of a crazy thing in your head when you're thinking about that. And it's by Judd Winnick. And I heard of him, writer, but I don't know where. I can't place it where I heard it from. And Mike Keown is the penciler most of the time. So they just location desert, and out of the blue they just pop out like this. Down the Rabbit Hole is called the first story arc, and they come to be, and they kind of like they think they know each other because they are from the timelines, but it's all of them apparently find out they from different eras of time, so they all came together to be. And of course there's somebody else they have to deal with, and there's this weird kind of butler guy who's basically in a way summoned them all into one to become a team,
Hmm.
to deal with stuff situations. So I haven't even touched much of the story yet so far. I just like I've looked at some, and there's one character in here. I don't remember his name now, but he's like this looking alien dude. This guy. So
Okay. Yeah.
he's the hilarious type of the character. He morphs into, like, I think it's Morpho name, I think something like that. He morphs into all sorts of beings while they're having conversation. So he's the guy who's
Okay.
basically a comedy type of the relief character in the storyline so far. But apparently, it's underrated series, which people not everybody has touched on. And I was
Hmm.
thinking I saw it in library. I'm gonna give him a try, give it a try. So, and this
Looks like
guy,
he did. Judd Winnick did a lot of DC stuff, like lots
is
of
it?
Green Lantern,
How is
some
it?
Batman, some
Wow.
Batwing, some Catwoman, some a lot of Green Arrow stuff as well too. Green Arrow
Oh,
with
so that's why.
Black Canary, etc. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
why I'm
actually
so.
quite a bit of DC work.
Yeah. So that's
The
why I'm most familiar.
Outsiders was another one. So those kind of those a lot of those titles that are just kind of to the left of kind of the big draws, right?
Yeah. So yeah. So
And
I
quite a
picked.
bit in Marvel too. Yeah, Star Wars, etc.
Yeah. So I picked it up, and it says like they're heroes from different realities whose their own timelines has become compromised, and lives they once knew are gone. So they have to deal with that shit. Very good so far.
Mm,
It's first 19 issues in one collected edition, which is
hmm.
pretty crazy. So I saw it. I was like, okay, it's X-Men something, like something piqued my interest. We'll see how
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
I went through a couple of once again, couple of storylines, and so far it's good. Not like too intriguing yet, but it's entertaining, which is what I want from comic books anyway, in generally. So I
hmm.
decided to pick it up, so I'll give it a shot. It's That's the thing. Once again, I'm repeating myself, but library is the beauty of that. You can pick
Yeah,
something, not afraid to pick up it. You don't like it, you can give it back. Of
yeah.
course, as always,
It's
like you
gone.
what you do. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I found it, and yeah, I discover maybe hopefully discover something. I'm a fan of X-Men generally, so it should be okay. But I'm not familiar with that lore yet because I
Hmm.
wasn't. I'm more into like 80s X-Men. So yeah, I really like that stuff of
Yeah,
X-Men lore. So, but
yeah.
this one's will be something. But I think I think Dr. Monkey Boy definitely had mentioned something on his channel
I wouldn't
because he's
doubt it. Yeah,
absolutely crazy about X-Men. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, so he's probably definitely would have known about it. It's like, oh yeah, I know, and you would tell you a story. But I've looked at the actual video on YouTube, somebody mentioning and saying it's underrated series, which not a lot of people has tried to read.
hmm.
So we'll see.
I just remember his room there
Uh
with all
huh.
the boxes and him talking about like, and these boxes here are all X-Men stuff. It's like, holy shit, man.
He had like a
Amazing.
almost one section just X-Men.
Yeah,
Because he was collecting everything X-Men. I mean, I've
everything,
not, because there's
everything.
most of it, like I, for example, myself, I am certain era of X-Men I really like. So all the oh my god, what's the writer, the famous writer of X-Men? Fuck, I forgot the
Um,
name.
yeah,
Yeah, you know which one. You know the guy who opinionated guy. He had interviews and everything. Anyway,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
so most of that era, I like a lot of X-Men. So
yeah.
the reimagining from Giant Side X-Men onwards, that's what X-Men I'm kind of more familiar with
Right,
because of TV show, of course, when I was growing up,
right.
and then I'm quite late into comic books reading, so anyway, so that's there I really enjoy reading. But then
Mhm.
newer stuff, I'm not so much in like knowing what it is and who they are anyway. So
Mhm.
yeah, Chris,
Claremont,
thank you
yeah.
very well, Clement. Yeah, thank you guys.
I don't know.
Fault,
I don't
fault
know if he
me.
does, Damien. I think there might have been a time where he dipped in and watched every once in a while, but I think it's
I
kind of
think
everyday
yeah,
life. I think is taken over for the most part. So
yeah. Hopefully he's okay.
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, mental family. Anyway, so yeah, it's UK, and now in with COVID, it's just like before it used to be this. Not sure. Maybe it's just a gimmick from the government. But now when your close family or friends gets involved in that sense, you're like,
Yeah.
wake up if you haven't woken up yet. I
Our
got,
numbers have skyrocketed here. We have more
yeah,
cases. This is the
uh-huh.
most cases that we've ever had since COVID has started. Like our
Fuck.
test positivity rate has skyrocketed. Like it's crazy. This variant is kicking everybody's ass, right? Like
Yeah,
it can't be stopped. You know what I mean? It cannot be
yeah.
stopped.
I got the booster shot.
Oh, you
It
did, hey?
kicked my
Yeah,
ass. It kicked my ass for the over the weekend.
right,
Jesus, I went like, what the hell is my arm? I thought my arm is gonna, I'm gonna have to chop it off. It was so painful. I couldn't actually
right.
even sleep. I couldn't even sleep on it. That
Wow,
was the
wow.
bizarre. That's the booster shot that kicked, really kicked this time. And they were giving me completely opposite whatever I had before. Apparently, that works even better when you get the
Oh,
booster
okay,
shot.
okay.
Apparently, you want different company, like the brand, whatever you got before. You want
Yep.
completely different opposite to it because apparently it gives you a better chance of fighting it
Okay.
or have less symptoms, like less horrible symptoms. And
Hmm.
in here in UK, they just rolled out, and before it used to be like age group, and then just the minute they rolled out, the messages on my phone like, go on, get your booster shot straight away. It's like, oh my
Right,
god.
right.
So me and my husband, I wouldn't even hesitate to just go get it because we
Yep.
just rely on each other. So if something happens to one of us, it's bad already. So
Right.
we don't hesitate and just go do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's like Pokemon Go, guys. Yeah,
So the last one that I'll talk about is one that was
yeah.
from
Let's go combat Luke's
before the
lava.
Christmas break, and I don't remember if I've talked about it too much, but definitely on social media.
I
This
think you
Night
showed it
Fisher.
something. Looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the first graphic novel. So this is like the 15-year anniversary, I think 15. Our Kiko Johnson, he grew up in Hawaii, and this is sort of very
Oh.
loosely based on his time there, very, very loosely from what I understand. So he ended up kind of doing a lot of artwork for the New Yorker, and
Mm-hmm.
he
Damien's
retouched for
favorite.
this anniversary one. He retouched a lot of the faces. He actually went back and redrew a lot of stuff for this.
Oh.
But this was the first thing he drew, and apparently this is the cover that he used. He sent it into Fantagraphics,
Mm-hmm.
unsolicited, and just kind of, hey, this is who I am. This is my graphic novel. Do you want
Yeah.
to publish it?
Uh-huh.
And now it's at the 15-year anniversary. This
Oof.
was another one of those books where by the end of it, I was ready to read another couple of volumes with the same characters in the same world.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
just really great. Just these kind of teenagers just going through life and getting mixed up in some kind of crime and getting into drugs a little bit, but just
Mm-hmm.
really struggling, especially the main character, just struggling with who he is and what he wants to do, and trying to balance that. He was always a straight A student, and now he was experimenting with things and just kind of this frustration of being a teenager, right? As he's kind of growing into an adult, and
Mm-hmm.
what does he want to kind of focus on? Beautiful art as well, all black and white.
Yeah.
Um, and interesting to know that he redrew some stuff, because as I was reading it, I'm like, man, this is pretty damn strong for a first graphic novel. But then at the end, when he starts talking about that, it made a little more sense that him going back to retouch things, because there was apparently a lot of stuff in here that he just couldn't he couldn't let slide. He didn't think too highly of his work, this first work. So he's like, if it's going to get a reissue, apparently they were going to do a 10-year anniversary one, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have his shit together, and it didn't end up happening. So he really
Oh.
put some time in for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Really great. Fantagraphics, I think I said that. Fantagraphics
Yeah.
put it out.
Okay.
Really enjoyable read. Yeah, and again, it's so nice to get into those stories where you leave it wanting to know more of the characters and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, super fun.
So how did you
Really, really
discover
nice.
it?
Sorry.
How did you discover him?
Um, it was a total fluke. I think it was actually, no, this one would have been, I think this was Colin Blanchett on Twitter, who I follow
Uh-huh.
on Twitter. He posts he reads a ton of graphic novels, and this was one that he recommended. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember doing some samples, and then there was an interview with the creator on Kayfabe. I didn't actually watch it. And then my
Uh-huh.
comic guy, he posts photos every week. The
Uh-huh.
one that's right around the corner from my office, he posts photos of stuff, and
Yeah.
this was there. So it just seemed like everything was, it kind of all lined up where it's like, yeah, let's give it a try. He only got the
Yeah.
one copy in, so I
Okay.
figured I'd give it a shot because it was pretty affordable, like $20, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, I'm glad I gave it a shot though. It's nice to kind of gamble on some of this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's good. Sounds like entertaining. Look, I like the black and white. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's just like, but looks like exactly the black and white I like. Not overly complicated, not overly good way of using shadows in the black colors.
Right.
Sometimes it's like so dark, you know, like people
Mm-hmm.
don't tend to give the black an air to breathe into on the page.
Right.
You looks like you just want to cram everything in one page, and you're like, where I'm looking at, to be honest, sometimes, you know. But this one
That
looks like it's
balance of illustration versus detail, right?
yeah,
Like even stuff like this, the storytelling
yeah.
on a
But there you
page like
go.
this,
Yeah,
as he's
exactly.
changing the tire, you know, you
Yeah,
get these kind of technical drawings plus, you know,
yeah.
the actual physical labor. Yeah, it is. That's a good point for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Yeah, I think I've read some, but I don't remember if I, you know, like sometimes I just read some random stuff and I forget to actually put it on memos where I've read it, because I have this way of dealing. I pile them up next to my
Mm,
bed most of the time, whatever I read, so I know when we have a chat, I have
yeah.
this, because I tend to forget. I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
how
what I
you
do as
are.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, the graphic novels is a bit easier because they are big chunks, because then you
Yep.
can see the you know, the binding and all that stuff. With
Mhm.
comic books, it's like just lay there and like, what is this? What did I
Yeah.
read? Kind of thing. Yeah, it's difficult.
I end up doing this. I have my rack on the side of the bookshelf.
Okay.
So the single issues that I've read during the week, I'll put them up there just for our chats. Then it's right there.
Yeah.
And then
Uh-huh.
all the graphic novels were up here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything is like nice and close. Because I
Uh-huh.
have the same thing. I can't always remember what the hell I've read. So
Yeah.
it's nice to keep things close.
You should talk about the Catwoman I was mentioning last time about that guy.
Love it.
Cliff
It's
Chat.
just,
Okay, show the
it's so
show some panels, please, if you
it's
don't.
so good.
So
Man,
you got both
yeah,
two issues. It's the second
there's
issue,
only two
yes?
issues so far, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only two
Yeah.
so far. I absolutely love this. I think it's a really great idea. I think his art is amazing. I think his coloring is amazing. I've heard some mixed things about the coloring.
Mm-hmm.
Again, someone on Twitter saying that they get kind of tired of the same color palettes from comic to comic.
Yeah.
I guess I can understand that. I don't feel like it's never jumped out at me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just love this story. I think it's really, really entertaining. You know, Catwoman kind of revisiting the different characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll show you in a second there in 1904. It's just a really good take on it. You know, the Black Label stuff, I think it's a good premise.
So it's just
But
him as a
this
creator?
one just really works for me. Sorry, what's that?
It's just him as a creator?
Just him. Yeah, he's doing everything.
Wow.
So written, colored, drawn, and lettered by Cliff Chat. So he does everything.
Jeez.
The first time that he's done a book just purely on his own. And I like this kind of bigger magazine format to it. I think it works really well. And I think in some comments on some of our previous kind of hangouts, from what I understand, the Black Label stuff all gets these hardcover reprints, because I just saw in the bookstore the Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Yeah.
That's what it was called, right? Yeah, in a hardcover. And I was tempted to double dip into that to pick that up again, even though I have the issues. I just enjoyed it so much that I wouldn't mind getting it in another format as well. But this one is an absolute blast. Really, really digging it.
So the story is good as well as art, yeah?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's keeping me entertained, you know. But the art is beautiful. and then some Jared style spot varnish on the
Mm-hmm.
front as well too. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, yes. So it
his
stands
style
out.
is so nice though. His style is really fantastic.
Oh yeah, do you want to show the shelving to the
Yeah,
people?
sure.
I'll make your screen big
So
again.
it's
So
our old office when we moved offices. Whoop.
oh,
As I
we can
tangle up, there we
see.
go. So it's just secured onto the shelving itself,
That's
and it was
cool.
just an old display rack with like pamphlets and stuff. It just so happened that they're kind of nice comic book size, and even that format fits in there nice, and it's perfect sized for the side of this shelving unit that I had. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different shelves.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I have some boxes here, so it takes up some of the space.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're pretty handy.
I just caught a glimpse of your the Dune book you have there. A
Yeah.
small. Are you gonna read it?
This
Oh,
one isn't Dune. This is
yeah. It's just
Eyes of
his.
Heisenberg
Yeah.
is what I have here. Dune, I've never finished Dune. I
Uh,
still have yet to finish that book.
it's
Yeah,
a bit. There's a lot of people saying it's a bit dry.
it's
So the,
it's daunting. It's a daunting read.
yeah, because it's like ginormous, isn't it?
It's
I
enormous.
was after watching the movie, I was tempted as well, like to just like because there's so many editions. But now I have an idea of just going to charity shops and hopefully find it. But actually, I'm going to be doomed with that idea because that's what a lot of people do as well, because of the limited printing editions, and they apparently come out on those like old bookstores, like we sell as
Uh-huh.
used bookstores, or like we have in charity shops in here.
Mhm.
But there's so many printing editions. I thought surely I would
So
find
many.
it, but so far I went to a couple and to no avail. I might have to
No, hey.
just. I don't know if I want to because it's such a commitment.
Mhm.
This the biggest book I've read is this size book, which is too much. But
Okay,
this
yeah.
is one of the best South African-based writers' story I've read. The Power of
Huh.
One. It's about the child, and it goes through your heartstrings so much. It's ridiculous, but it's just you
Mhm.
can't stop. It's about apartheid era of South Africa as well, and further down. It's like ages of I think 30 something onwards going. So it's quite a
Mhm.
good. It's about the child basically. Us. It's really really good story. But
Right,
this
right,
is the thick. This is the only probably thickest book I've read in my
right.
because I'm not a really book reader. It needs to really
Yeah.
entertain me too much to the point of reading that kind of books. My
Mhm.
mom would you would think she would be a reader, but she even haven't read Dune book apparently, which is like, oh, I was
Okay.
disappointed. It's like you a reader, you haven't read this phenomenon. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
huh, no,
yeah,
apparently no. So I was kind of like, oh, that's surprising. Something you
yeah.
find out about your parents sometimes. And so yeah.
Yeah, my parents are both voracious readers, and my mom especially. Not that my
Oh,
dad
is it?
doesn't, but my mom especially growing up, like she was always reading horror, mystery, romance, whatever. Anything she could get her hands on, she was reading, like, but mostly kind of in the mystery and horror kind of vein is where she really read a lot of. My dad was more into kind of like the spy espionage kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that
yeah.
was kind of his genre.
My mom was trying to, of course, push us to read books
Yeah,
because she was such a lover of reading. I mean, she still likes reading, but apparently she doesn't have enough time. She needs to take care of the grandchildren.
right,
my
right.
sister, my sister keeps her busy anyway. But I never. She said I was the worst to be sitting with the book next to it
Hmm.
because never had I imagination enough to basically see whatever like my mom says, like I can see it
Yep,
like a movie open up in my head. It's like I read the page and it's like, what the fuck did I just read, kind of thing.
right, right.
So comic books is my forte for sure because of that. It
Hmm.
helps my imagination move forward. And I guess if I would have committed to comic books earlier in my life, I guess I would be reading much more books after that because
Hmm.
it's just really helpful. After reading a lot of comic books it generally is really easy afterwards. Because I guess it trains your head how to understand the writing and imagination at the same time.
Yep.
So your head it helps you in your head a lot. So yeah,
Helps you
it's a
focus too, because I find that's my
yeah.
biggest thing for reading novels and stuff. Because when I was a teenager, I read quite a few,
Mm-hmm.
but I just find it difficult to quiet my brain to that degree
Yeah.
to read a novel, even if it's just a slim paperback like this. Right? I just
Mm-hmm.
have a really difficult time the older I get to kind of just quiet my head and that internal dialogue to kind of just focus on it. Right? And for comics, it's always been something I've loved anyway, but it's the imagery absolutely helps in that focus.
This is
I don't read
hilarious.
books for dummies.
Yeah, it's difficult for me as well. It's like this book, I got it from my father-in-law. He gave me as a
Mhm.
present. I was like, okay, like there's a tag already attached to the book. You kind of have to, because it's been given you as a present, so you kind of like want to, okay, I have to start reading it. It's like a
Yeah, yeah,
commitment already.
yeah.
But honestly, that one, because the way the story engage me somehow, because of course, because I already started reading comic books, like got into YouTube and all that, reading comic books in general. So my brain is already was helping me with that kind of stuff. But it helped that the storyline itself was really good. So
Hmm.
it helps, but it has to be really switch on, like you say about your brain scatters around while you're reading. My
Yeah,
brain scatters even when I'm reading comic books. So imagine
yeah, yeah,
when I
yeah,
have a novel, what the fuck my brain is doing in my head. It's just like,
yeah,
it's like sometimes I wish, like you have in animation, you have good bad guy on your shoulder and a bad guy,
yeah, yeah,
and my brain has to put somebody just slap my fucking, just shut up brain, just
yeah, yeah,
concentrate. Somebody just
yeah.
kind of thing.
Put a
But that's
gag
me.
on
And
one of them.
yeah, that's what me and novels are like. So it's
Yeah,
a horrible, almost like a boxing fight, to be honest.
yeah, yeah,
In
yeah,
my own head, I want
yeah,
to be entertained. No, fuck off. Just it's like concentration is gone.
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, do you have
Yeah.
anything else to add up to our beautiful end of the year
Uh,
chat?
no, yeah, no, not really. I mean, Werewolf was saying earlier in the chat, like
Hmm.
right near the beginning, that he bought the first 10 issues of Cull, but hasn't started in on him yet. I'm up
Hmm.
to issue 9. I haven't read it yet, but I'm kind of I'm slowing down on it. I'm finding the last couple of issues have
Yeah.
been really, really wordy. They've still been entertaining, but incredibly wordy, where there's so much text where I'm
Yeah.
finding myself skipping some panels of text and just like looking at the book itself.
Yeah.
There's still great stories. I'm still really digging it.
Hmm.
Actually, I don't know if my computer has been listening to me, because lately
Hmm.
there's been some old Sleepy Reader videos that have been on my main YouTube page, which
Uh-huh.
has been kind of entertaining. There was one that came up today from 8 years ago where he was talking about Conan the
Oh.
Barbarian and talking about all the artists. So I
Uh-huh.
watched that. I rewatched that one, that I saw when it was 8 years ago. But it's
Yeah.
been kind of fun actually revisiting some of these
Doesn't
older
happen to
videos.
my page. I mean, nothing. Comic book related stuff on my page doesn't come up. I mean,
Okay.
I'm watching because I do watch, like you guys, of course, you make the videos more often than everything else.
Yeah.
And I try to find, like, discover somebody maybe new and stuff like that. But nothing recommended. It's like, what the, like, before it
Yeah.
used to be so easy. Used to be like
So
page
easy.
after page and after page, just got recommendations. And now it's
Yeah.
like, I have to literally do the job to, well,
Yeah.
basically watch you guys do some videos, and then somehow pops up next to you. Like when you watch a video related to,
Yeah.
and then on the side of it, you recommend you something. But yeah, it's rarely happens in my page. But yeah, well,
Right.
it's interesting that you can go, like, it recommends you that kind of old video as well.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what I watched to make that pop up, but yeah, just there was one week or there was one day where one of his early videos might have been like, I don't know, one of the first maybe half a dozen. It was incredible to see actually, and then just kind of that idea of going back through our own videos all the time that we've been online, and
Hmm.
seeing everybody kind of age and change throughout the 9 years and stuff is crazy, right? So
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't believe that it's been this long.
it's
Sometimes.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's
But
insane.
I mean, it's as entertaining as it used to be. I mean, it was more involved before, to be honest. It
Yeah,
was so much better because it felt like there was more kind of engaged conversations. I mean, this is engaging conversation. You guys,
yeah,
people comes and talks to us on this chat is great, but used to be more, you get more connected to the people, other people,
Right.
new people. It's just because the same subject we were talking about. Now it's a little bit more chorish, becomes kind of thing to look for somebody else to discover new.
It was
Word
a
of mouth is,
smaller group.
of course, is the best though, when
Yeah.
people are talking about somebody else and stuff like that. So it's great.
It was a smaller group. I was talking to this guy last night, this John on
Mm-hmm.
Demand,
Mm-hmm.
from Sergeant America's
Yeah,
neck of the
yeah.
woods there. We just kind of had a chat, like offline, just a brief little chat or whatever. And it's
Mm-hmm.
something that we were talking about too, that, it was a bit of a different time then where, like the thing that we've talked about even recently, the tag video and that kind of thing, like there was more of that type of thing going on where
Yeah,
it felt like there was quite an active group of people. There's
yeah,
still active groups of people, for sure there is, but I just feel like part of that activity is it's kind of changed the focus. There's so many kind of speculating type of channels out there now. And the comic ones, they're still fantastic. There's still stuff to discover. I just don't have the patience to kind of sit in and watch, you know what I mean? So it feels
mm-hmm.
like it's nice that we have our kind of core group here, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's definitely changed over the years. I think the more
Yeah,
recent one was with Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters, that kind of, that was the first thing in a little while that had kind of traveled across a bunch of different YouTube channels, where it
yeah,
felt like that kind of 9 years ago where all of us were, reading some of the
yeah.
same books and chatting about it. And,
Mm-hmm.
the tag videos was a big one, right? That was a huge one where someone would have an idea and then it would just kind of just filter through the community. People would do
Yeah.
their versions of it. Those were pretty fun.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also as great as it was before. To be honest, I mean, it still gives you that sparkle and the interest. Sometimes you tend to forget. Like you get, if you don't, like, for example, myself, I don't get those books as often as I used to
Mhm.
be before. So it's sometimes, like, you lose that spark of the thing, and you like, oh, he comes in, and then you get that, like, oh, you watching your guys' videos, like, oh yeah, you get excited, and then we chat. I get more excited about comic books. It just
Right.
becomes, it just gives you that, I don't know, it just gives you that entertaining factor where you wanted to actually find out more about the comic books and discover,
Yep.
because it's just so many things and new to do. So yeah.
Well, and even watching people who talk about new comics, because, I don't buy a ton of superhero and new comics. My pull list is incredibly small. It's still
Mm-hmm.
fun to watch those videos because it's still fun to sort of live vicariously through someone else and hear what they're saying about the comics and the new superhero stuff that's going. And, even if I never pick it up, it's kind of fun to have that playing. Even when I'm sitting down here at nighttime and reading, I'll sometimes have videos playing in the background,
Yeah.
just for some kind of like background noise as well too. So
Yeah.
tap in and out.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love watching YouTube videos when I'm doing chores.
Hmm.
It makes it easier for me to go through everything. It's like, oh,
Right.
and then you like you pick, so you listen and
Yeah.
you pick your interest, like, huh? Okay, what did I just hear? Just okay, rewind. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
or something, you miss out on stuff, and it's good.
Yeah.
As long as there will be people who's reading comic books, is, I think, is always, hopefully, will be as entertaining to watch as anything else, because I like the excitement when you discover
Yeah.
something like that. It's just, it's different. I don't know. Before I used to be like entertained by technology when I was like wanted to get that all the time. Now I'm tired of that. Comic books, it seems to be, is continuously giving me something different, not
Mhm.
the same subject. Like you always can tap into, your superheroes if you feel like it, then your
Right.
underground if you feel like that as well. So it's nice way
Right.
of just delving in something new, and you always discover something else. So it's
Yeah.
great.
Totally. Yeah.
Like those weird Pit comic books, I would never even think
The
they
which one? Sorry.
existed. The Pit one, the Pit one I was showing to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one. I would
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
thought, nor would I have picked it up, but somehow it piqued my interest, and I just read it.
Right.
I was thoroughly, as I say, entertained. So, and this kind
Yeah.
of things is beauty about it. So
Yeah. That's the fun of digging through those boxes when you get the opportunity, right?
yeah,
Some real gems out there,
yeah, yeah.
real fun shit.
Mm-hmm. All
Yeah.
right then. I guess we
Okay.
can end this year with this chat. No, I don't think we're gonna
Absolutely.
be. I don't. When is this? What Sunday? What date is on Sunday?
Today's the 28th. Yeah, no, I don't think Sunday will work for me.
2nd of January is a bit fresh for the new.
Right. I mean, we'll see. We'll see, right? We'll, keep in touch. We'll see what
Mhm.
happens. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to be New Year.
It'll definitely be the new year. 100%.
Yeah, so this is it, people, for 2021.
See
This
you
is
in the
it.
future.
See you in the future. Yeah. Let's
Flying
hope.
cars.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually watching Back to the Future
Oh, yeah.
on my Christmas watch list. I don't know. I always enjoy. So Back to the Future, Harry Potter, of course, the
Yep.
Peanuts, and all
Yep.
that other stuff. That's by Harry Potter is beautiful for the Christmas. I don't know what the hell.
Oh, yeah,
It is.
hey?
It still gets like entertain me thoroughly. But the Christmas
Right.
is there all the time in the background. So
Yeah.
it's a Christmas movie for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for turning up. Thanks to Comic Crack
Later, people.
for having this chat with me. And
Have
yeah,
a good
we'll
sleep,
see.
werewolf,
Yeah. Or wake up, have a
or
drink,
whatever you're gonna do.
enjoy a scorcher, and then go back to sleep again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys for coming up. And yeah, we'll see you next year, hopefully. Soon.
Laters.
Laters. Bye-bye. Awkward moment when you press the button.